Yeah, sorry. Okay, I don't fucking know what episode this is. Go fuck yourself, man. I hope that
Hi, man.
Hi, man.
I hope that you're parked at a stoplight right now, going to work, and you look across the way, and there's a sort of a guy with a hood on. It's I don't know what time you go to work, probably 7 a.m., 7:20. The light's red for you, just turned red, turns green for him. He makes eye contact with you. You notice he has a knife, and he starts approaching your car. He draws that knife and he cuts you a nice little piece of cake and offers it to you and says, "Have a good day." And then you eat that cake and it's full of laxatives and you shit yourself until you die. You piece of shit. Anyways, I'm just huffing dirt. My throat's killing me.
Hey, you had quite the experience with dirt right before this all happened, didn't you?
Yeah, we need to. We'll talk about it later. If I bring it up now, I'll lose my fucking mind. I'll just have a fucking schizo moment. Maybe I'm just too sheltered for this, but I feel like the world has gotten like COVID dropped the average IQ by
oh yeah
30. Also, this is driving me insane.
At minimum.
Fucking pillow over here.
That's okay. The pillow's bugging all the viewers too.
Yeah. If you'll notice, there's sort of a brown haze. That's just dirt particles. But yeah, so I feel like I've just been, because I remember when they rate limited Twitter, where you can only see X amount of tweets per day or some shit, right?
600.
Yeah, and I saw a billion tweets that were like, "I can't believe this. I can't use Twitter now," and I thought to myself, "Is 600 tweets a lot? Is that a little? Is that not a lot of tweets to look at?" And then so I spent a significant amount of time actively using the application like I normally would for extended periods of time, and I could not hit that 600 tweet limit. I fucking tried, and I was doubling my Twitter usage in a day, and all I could think was, are there people that just spend 4 to 5 hours on Twitter a day?
Absolutely.
100%.
Without a doubt.
Blew my fucking mind that because for me, right, do you know what Twitter is? Twitter is I'm walking to go to my car or something. Open it, funny meme, copy paste, send a friend, close app, right? And I maybe get 5 minutes of usage a day, right, out of 7 or 8 times where I open it.
Oh, you're not a tweeter.
No, I'm not.
You're not a hard tweeter.
I draft a lot of tweets, and then right before I hit send, I go, why the fuck would I tweet this? Who gives a shit? Why would I make this argument? Sure, this person is a fucking moron, but one, what do I gain from quote tweeting them and explaining why they're a retard, other than that this person is going to now continue to be retarded but directed at me? Worst trade deal of the century.
No, you can change their mind.
I don't know. I don't think I've got that Steven Crowder dog in me. I'm not.
I used to be such a tweeter.
Did you?
I was.
I do see your tweets every once in a while, because I've got it's got the preferences and the algorithm knows we're friends.
Yeah.
So anytime you tweet, it's always on my feed. But
I used to make it a point to pick a stance every day, and that would be my thing. I would defend it.
Yeah,
no matter what tweets came at me.
Yeah, no matter how much evidence to the contrary was presented to me, I dug in. That morning, I woke up, I set up my mental fortifications, and if you flew a plane over and just dropped a bomb on me, didn't happen. La 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 la.
Essentially, that was 19-year-old Jim. I was like, no, okay. This is my mental exercises for the day.
Yeah. So if you go to my Twitter, I've tweeted a fuck ton of things. The problem is that it counts retweeting things as tweets, right?
Yeah.
So I've had Twitter for 2011, it's 10 years, 11, 12 years. So I've got 17,000 tweets, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of tweets. I think 16,950 of those are probably retweets.
Yeah.
Where I'm, that's funny, and I'll just go through it in 30 seconds and retweet 40 things, and then log off for the day. And some people have 17,000 tweets, and their account is 4 weeks old.
Yeah, and zero of them are quotes or whatever.
And they're not quotes, and they're a real person expressing real things. And I'm just how? How do you have time for this? How is this a...
How do you have that many opinions?
No, I'm sure I have an opinion on fucking everything, man. If you're like, what's better, oranges or bananas? Like, I'll have an opinion, right? But like,
Well, how many of those are you going to be like, yeah, I should share this with people? Or
Zero.
you'd be like,
One a day.
fucking zero.
One a day.
There's just there's no shit. It's like probably 4 or 5 a week. Yeah, 4 or 5 a month, probably actually. Like for example, I saw this one today, right? It is literally titled, "This is so interesting. You really learn something new every day." And it's just people with a cup of gasoline, by the way. You know the thing when you're pumping it, you can smell from a mile away because it's like a toxic fucking fume.
Smells so good.
And they trap like a wasp or a hornet in the cup basically. And like naturally, like the hornet tries to fly away, so like hits the side of the cup and falls into the fucking gasoline. They're like, I can't believe that gasoline will kill bugs. It's like, wait, you are right now as an adult learning that you shouldn't drink gasoline.
Yeah.
Like prior to this moment, if I had told you, yeah, I'm gonna have the AC vent just blow gas fumes into your room for like an hour, you'd have been like, oh well, yeah, I'll just plug my nose. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are these people? And it's like, and these aren't tweets that are like, 6,000 likes. It's like 202,000 likes. And I'm like, 202,000 people today figured out that you shouldn't huff gasoline. That is where we're at. It's like,
but the bright side of it is there's probably at least 10 to 15 people that learned the bright side of huffing gasoline, and I am one of them.
hell yeah, man. Yeah, hopefully this tweet took out at least like 15 idiots.
You just gotta hope that eventually they'll call their own numbers.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. I bet if I go through my Twitter, I can find like things that pissed me off months ago because I'll like a quote tweet. How do I only see my tweets? Is that an option?
Going to your
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like how do
using Twitter?
How do I filter it to only show my quote tweets?
You can search using like
The advanced search. Yeah.
From and then at.
Yeah, that's I don't want to use the advanced search.
You can do like an SQL query into it.
No, like
set up
if
your
you just type
database.
like Twitter advanced search, it's easy to use. I've used it all the time, but it's just like, oh, here was a good one. I love this. I'm like a grandpa. I'm like showing my phone to the camera. So it was during the first, like when the rate limit came out, and it's a scene from the fucking first Call of Duty. It's one of my favorite scenes. It's you spawn as the Russian guy, and when you load in, it's like the guy in front of you gets a rifle, and you get the ammo for it. And it's like, when the man in front of you dies, you'll pick up his rifle. Because there just isn't enough like rifles and ammo. So it's just like, the first man in line will grab a tweet. The second man. It's just so fucking stupid. Yeah, that one really got me.
Oh, I just found one of your tweets from when you weren't even in California.
Oh, lay it on me.
But you said it's
so most of his life.
The super bloom in 2019. And Dylan just goes, bro, fuck when this happened. The traffic from fucking morons just stopping on the fucking highway.
No, you don't understand, bro.
I've heard this so many times.
So there's this thing, it's called the super bloom. It happens like every 4 or 5 years in California where like it rains twice in a row. 2 days there's rain, like 2 consecutive days. Life-changing event in California. And all the plants are alive for 38 minutes, right? And in that brief 38-minute window, there are these vast fucking fields of sunflowers because to survive in the hot, arid desert, you have to cum seeds everywhere, like millions of seeds. So when it finally rains, like 4 billion flowers are born, right? The amount of assholes that will literally, and I'm not talking they pull over to the side of the road. I mean, they're in the slow lane of a 3-lane highway, and they just apply their brakes and put that bitch in park, and they're like, I'm gonna go take photographs now. I was losing my fucking mind. Like, I felt like I was playing, like, Need for Speed, bro. With my, like, how I like, you're driving, right? And I don't speed. I'm going 64.5 miles an hour, okay?
Yeah.
The car, I'm like 3 car lengths behind, right? That dude slams on his brakes because he saw, like, 14 daisies in a row. And he's like, I must take a photograph of this. And I'm like, you have to like look behind you to like make sure there's like a space for you, and you fucking have to like crank the wheel, you like straighten around, and you're like, oh my fucking god, man. And the car in front of you that you just got behind is like, holy shit, a sunflower. and now you're like fucking just ripping the e-brake and like sliding sideways on the highway, fucking just trying to avoid like the 47 Instagram models like fucking no clipping out of their cars to go take photographs. It's a goddamn nightmare. Fuck, man. You remind me how pissed. Yeah, give me some more tweets I put out, because that shit pissed me the fuck off, man. Or it's like, sorry, go for it.
No, this one's a pretty good one.
Okay.
You said at Chipotle tweets, you need to answer for your crimes. Why the fuck can I not order a regular size quesadilla from your online menu?
Bro!
It's been like this for years. I always hope
People
you'd
don't
have
know
the
this,
option.
okay? Did you know that the quesadilla is not a Chipotle menu item? It recently got added in the last like 3 years, and now they fucking suck because they're like.
I remember when they added it. It
Yeah,
was in 2020.
Yeah, they're like really shitty and small. They're dog shit. Okay.
Yep.
Everyone, you used to order a quesadilla and they would ring you up, but it was not an official menu item. So on the app, you couldn't order it. To get a quesadilla, bro, you had to either suck off your fucking DoorDash driver or go there in person. It drove me fucking insane, because I want to order ahead, so it's waiting a fucking line of retards who are like, can I get, I've had 38 minutes to think about what kind of fucking burrito I want, and now I guess I'm going to just throw all that out the fucking window, and we're going to start again, okay? You know, I thought I wanted steak, but you know, I think I want McDonald's, so just go scrap this burrito. I'm going to go ahead at McDonald's. I'll be back at 15. It just drives me to the fucking wall. So it's like the only way to get a quesadilla, and like I have like, I need to go find these receipts. I was like schizo emailing fucking Chipotle corporate, like, please, I'm fucking begging you, man. Like,
so you tweeted that,
Yeah.
and someone responded.
Yeah,
that
and I
it's because
apologized.
It's not a main menu item. Yeah, and then like put the little dash Becky at the end. You said, "Becky, you the best." I'm sorry I didn't swear at
well,
you.
yeah, because I like threatened to kill her initially. I was like, I'll fucking cut your head off, bitch. And then a real person responded like, yo, I'm sorry, yo. I just run the Twitter account and you're threatening to drive to my location with a fucking handgun and shoot me 38 times in the chest. And I'm like, my bad, dog.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, dude, my old tweets, my quote tweet, I feel like 34% of my quote tweets, bangers. Another one is
solid ratio.
It's Destiny. He tweets, when another girl with BPD invites me to fly to her state. And then it's a little snippet from Cowboy Bebop where Spike is like, I'm not going there to die. I'm going there to see if I really am alive. I quote tweet that, like, there is no tweet on this earth that legitimately maps on to my lived experience than this tweet. The amount of women with BPD that I have like actively pursued, it was like, this tweet was made for me. Like, there's me and Destiny and like 4 other dudes that are dumb enough to do that.
I remember seeing that and I just, I love that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Do you have any more bangers for us, Austin?
I'm very sad that all of my tweets got purged in the Great Deletion.
Not that I can find so far, Dylan, but
okay. I'm gonna.
Pretty great.
I got into an argument with Emma about this. Okay, I'm gonna rehash this.
All right, perfect.
So
well, she's not here.
Yeah. So the tweet is a $5 iced latte is $25 a week, $100 a month, $1,200 a year. After 10 years, that's $12,000, which is still nowhere near enough to put a down payment on a house to enjoy. So enjoy your espresso in peace. I used to see those avocado toast tweets where it was like, millennials can't fucking buy a house because they like toast too much because they're fucking retarded. Yeah. And I'd be like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, that's not what the problem is. And now having grown up, I'm like, oh no, they were right. They were 100% right. Because it's like, that $5 iced latte, right? Doesn't matter. If that's all that you're fucking getting, who gives a shit? But the person who's spending $5 a day on just a coffee is not stopping there. They're getting all kinds of other shit to where it's like, why does it cost you $38 a day to exist? Like, you need to figure something out. Like, buy a coffee machine in your fucking house. Learn how to make iced coffee. Like,
do you guys hear, or do you guys see that someone did the math, and during the Great Depression, the like worst, like, or the average household or single person income during the Great Depression was equivalent to $88,000.
Yep. Yeah,
man, that'd be sick.
That's my other favorite thing is when.
Can you imagine having $80K a year?
Like, almost everyone in the Discord can imagine that. I think it's just us.
Yeah,
we are the 3 people in the Discord who can't imagine that.
No, we can definitely imagine it. It's just going to be a fantasy.
Yeah, I can close my eyes really, and I can imagine buying a sandwich every day and not putting a gun in my mouth.
Meanwhile, for quotes, it's more imagining how how it used to be when he started out at the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom.
When he was only at 8.
Yeah, Quote spends a fucking $88,000 a month on WoW subscriptions. He forgot he has.
Oh, when he mentioned that, I just
it's amazing.
Something of my soul just departed again.
I will say,
goodbye.
Nothing is funnier than when boomers are like, listen, when I was your age, it's like, shut the fuck up right now. The internet didn't exist when you were my age, okay? You could just walk up to anyone and be like, I know how to do this. And they'd go, you're probably telling the truth. And you could just have that job, and it would be a minimum wage job, and they'd pay you $38,000 an hour to fucking do it. And you'd be like, this is awesome. And it's like, now people grow up, it's like, you know, oh my, dude, nothing blows my fucking mind. When I talk to my grandma or some shit, or my grandpa, and I'm like, oh yeah, I make like $22 an hour or whatever. It's like, I only made $8 an hour. I'm like, Grandpa, $8 an hour is the equivalent to $40,000 a second. You dumb piece of shit. He'd be like, I only got paid $100 a day in 1952. And I'm like, Grandpa, do you know how much $100 a day in 1952 is? You were getting paid like $6,000 a day. You fucking dumb asshole. He's like, yeah, I bought a sports car. Every single male adult in my life talks about how they owned a sports car in high school, and they're like, I don't know why you don't own a house. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe because a house costs money, which they don't just give you for free anymore, you dumb motherfucker.
I was recently talking to my grandparents, and they mentioned what my dad's first 2 cars were, 2 or 3, that they bought him. And they're like, yeah, it was probably like $1,000 right off the lot. You know, for a Firebird.
Yeah, or just a brand new fucking...
I'm like, that must have been nice. Because we've been talking lately about car prices, and like an entry-level car in Canada for the cheapest you could get is like $25,000.
Yeah,
at like 7% interest rate. It's like, yeah, it's only $1,000 a month to pay it off in 9 years.
To clarify, I just did the inflation calculator here. My grandpa was making $1,100 a day. And he's like, I don't know how I did it, man. I don't know how I bought a house. So, yeah, just against all odds, I figured it out.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, Grandpa, that's crazy.
Man. The worst part, too, is they were also at the same time like, you want a house? Fuck it, go for it. I don't care.
Yeah, dude.
You don't work right now? It's crazy. You'll eventually get a job and be able to pay it.
Think about, like, even, like, you go even further back. Like, they're, like... Manifest Destiny, right? When it's like the Oklahoma like stakes and shit, they're like, yeah, move out here, we'll give you $6,000. And you hear that as a kid, you're like, wow, $6,000, that's a lot of money. And then it's like, no, that's not a lot, that's infinite money. That's a GTA 5. A dude just spawned and he's T-posing and money is falling out of the fucking sky. Okay, your grandpa spent half a day running around just collecting the little money piles on the fucking ground. His grandma's like, it's supper time. He's like, I don't know how long the modder's gonna be here, honey. We'll skip supper today. He's just fucking running around, picking up fucking dollars. Just goddamn insanity.
Oh. No, my favorite take has got to be when they talk about the housing prices back then, too. And they say, yeah, but we paid 18% interest. It's like, yeah, 18% interest on like $1,000 for a house is like not a lot of interest to pay.
Well, it's also like 18% interest means fucking nothing if the cost of a house is like 4% of your total income.
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
Yeah, like my brother lucked out so hard on this house. Like he got like a fixed rate of like 2 point something interest.
Yeah,
to where it's like his like the loan on his house doesn't even outpace inflation. Like the bank just loses money on his house. So yeah. Dude. I gotta scroll through my tweets, man. I forgot there's so many bangers I have where I'm just mad as fuck, dude. I get so mad on Twitter. I spend a lot of my time on Twitter just being like, I fucking hate people.
Now, speaking about your social media usage,
yeah, I'm listening.
Your ranking has fallen.
Yes.
Since our first estimate.
Now,
our first check-in.
There's the reason for that, because I'm lazy, and I also can't upload content on the regular basis.
Yeah. So we're down to like 14,493rd place. We broke 13,000 at one point.
Yeah. Like, to clarify, I make way more content than you guys by like a light year, right?
We don't know.
I'm still a D- content creator in terms of the amount of videos I put out. Like I beat the 3rd grade. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Fuck, I can
It's okay. December is gonna be wild.
It's not. You're not gonna open a godlike thing.
You're gonna
dumb asshole.
You're gonna have to eat your fucking words. I've got Genshin Impact downloading right now. I've got
what is Genshin Impact, by the way? I know it's like people say words like it's a gotcha game, and then I go,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a gotcha game.
I don't know what that means.
It's like, have you ever played Breath of the Wild? Or have you seen Breath of the Wild?
Is that Zelda?
Yeah.
That already goes so far from what I thought a gotcha game was.
No, well, it's a really dumbed down Skyrim, but the characters you can unlock are unlocked through like random chance, and you have to pay if you want to get more random chances.
Okay, that's why was my understanding of it, but I still don't know what the gameplay loop is. So what's happening
You just
is
go around killing shit.
Okay, see, because like every time I ask them like, what's a gotcha game? It's the equivalent of like, hey, what's a Call of Duty game? And people go, okay, so like to get the attachments, like there's all kinds of different challenges. Like you gotta use the other attachments sometimes to get the new attachment. And I'm like, no, but what is Call of Duty? And they're like, okay, yeah, so the noob tube, right? To get the underbarrel shotgun, you gotta use the noob tube on 20 guys. And I'm like, what?
Gotcha is just referencing how character progression and unlocks work. That's
I think I'm gonna die.
It's like Call of Duty is a weapons modification game.
Mm-hmm.
So anything can have like modifiers. It's just literally dying.
Are you good?
Did you have dirt in the water? Are you drinking dirt now?
I think because I'm drinking, I'm like flushing all the dirt from my nostrils into my fucking body. Ugh. Anyways, on to tweet 15 that pisses me off, okay? So like,
it's just a Dylan tweet review.
Dude, I have some bangers, man. So this man's complaint is grandpa's gonna hold the camera or the phone up to the camera again. They're complaining about how wasteful it is to put your shit in like nice little containers. They're like such a waste for aesthetics. And my response is, what waste? They're just organizing their shit, you fucking retard. Like the fact that there are people that are like, they're mad that people are like, I can't believe they took their giant container and made it into more smaller compact container. Why are you putting your fucking drinks in a row and not having your fridge look like shit like mine? God damn it.
I think it could be more of the like plastic shit. Like you don't need more plastic to fucking.
But this doesn't like. This does not create more waste.
People don't understand that though. That's the issue. Is people think, oh, I see this and I don't have that in my fridge. That's unnecessary.
Yeah,
that's wasteful.
Well, it does inherently create more waste because the product was created.
It does create more waste, and that like 5 or 10 years down the road you will replace it. But the actual impact of that waste is so fucking.
Oh, it's negligible.
Yeah, like it's like, do you guys not realize you always throw the bread wrapper away? Even you do that when you finish. That was gonna go in the garbage anyways. Like,
not me. I reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Fuck yeah, you do, man. Also, when
yeah, Jit eats the plastic.
Hell yeah. Also, the slowness at which these podcasts come out, combined with me going months back in my Twitter feed, we're gonna be hitting some very old events. But it was on it's when the Wagner group fucking like went back to Moscow. And someone just tweeted the opening to COD 4 where it's like, Russian ultranationalists, have laid siege to Moscow. It's like, just another day in paradise, or whatever the fuck, another day on the job. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's outstanding shit, man.
So why is it that these podcasts come out once a decade now?
So, the reason for that is that, so the podcasts, like, we'll always come out like within like 7 days generally of each other. Sometimes it'll be like 8 or 9. But what I've done is I start to double up now on the recordings. You can look at, I think it's like 8 or 9 days since the last one. It's within the margin.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Why are you getting so defensive out of nowhere?
Because I see you looking it up immediately to fucking complain. I know you, Jed. I know exactly what you're doing. Don't fucking try and trick me, you rat bastard. That was 5 days ago. Go fuck yourself. So,
okay, the one before that. Let's just hit that one up real quick.
Okay, let's see.
Do you want to check the number? You got it up?
Yeah, I mean, it's my fucking parents were in town. It was late. I'll tell you, man.
Yeah. Month ago.
So the reason we're doing this shit, right? The reason it's so delayed is that we can avoid that from happening, right?
Yeah, because you're such a flake.
Yeah, that absolutely. Me. So the
Your parents were in town.
Is that
you're
way,
uploading.
Yeah, it's true, shit. Absolutely. Go fuck yourself. Anyways, remember that submarine that exploded and everyone died?
That was months ago.
Yeah, remember that relevant meme? Nothing drives me more insane than when something happens and suddenly everyone is a fucking expert on every goddamn thing. It drives me like they made a carbon fiber hole, right? Every fucking person that I personally know on Twitter is like, a fucking carbon fiber hole. Can you believe they did this? And I'm like, motherfucker, you've never changed the oil in your car. There's no fucking way you have any idea what carbon fiber even is.
No, they watched a YouTube video and they got all of their information from that, and they want to spew shit because it makes them seem like they know what they're talking about.
Drives me insane.
I'm so glad that's the position you took and not the because there's people who are trying to defend using a Logitech controller. Oh, but no, it's an indefendable position.
That's almost me. The Logitech controller, dog shit. God. But if it was like an Xbox controller, unironically, like
insane take.
I actually want to hear your so let me phrase this. I think the controller probably not the best idea, but it is so far removed from even the if we're stack ranking the dumbest things about that sub, it's in the 30s of the retard level. Would you agree with that, or are you putting the controller relatively high?
I didn't really think much further than this. I just remember you complaining that other people were complaining about the Logitech controller.
Yeah, it drove me insane.
I'm looking at your DMs right now.
Yeah, because it drives me insane. Because it's like the video game controller is like one of the most tried and true map. It's literally designed to have controls mapped onto it, right? Yeah. Like if you're trying to save the R&D somewhere in your submarine where you probably shouldn't be trying to save money on R&D, the control system is probably one of the motor control, not the other systems. But the actual way to
everything.
Yeah, oh fuck! I pressed B. That depressurized us. We're dead now. But that's one of the few things that's the least retarded thing. However, upon looking into it more, I think that he was using a wireless Logitech controller, which is fucking insane.
Insane.
Well, it's such a small container. It's not like the signal will just fade away.
Even ignoring that, okay? I think it's even cheaper to have a wired controller.
Oh, 100%.
Which is 1,000 times. And it's the best part about wired controllers are, if that one breaks, you just plug in the next one. Do you know what happens if the Wi-Fi part of your shit gets fucked up? You can't just plug in a new one. The Wi-Fi's fucked, man. I'll tell you, you're dead.
Yeah.
But no. Also, the Twitter notes are so sick. So it's they show them screwing on. I feel like such a grandpa, literally holding my phone to the phone.
I love it.
So they're screwing on the bolts to fasten it, right? And everyone's like, they used a hand wrench to tighten it. And it was one of the few times where I'm an expert, and I'm like, it's not a hand wrench, you fucking retard. It's a torque wrench, okay?
Oh,
that
God.
shit will do more than enough to what needs to be done, motherfucker, okay? Again, there are 1,000 retarded things they did, and people are just looking for anything and with no knowledge of anything are just can you believe this? And it's yeah, no, I can. That makes sense, yeah. And they're like, oh.
Did you see that James Cameron predicted literally everything that happened, down to them being able to hear the hole slowly start to crack before it fucking imploded?
I'd be surprised if they could hear it slowly crack.
No, they released the fucking chat between the sub and the upper part,
they did?
where they're talking about it. We're oh hey, there's an alarm going off.
I would love to read that.
We're fucking we've released all of the ballast, but we're not going up any further. What do we do? And then
that's weird because they said the ballasts weren't released when they recovered it.
Literally, that's what in one of the things. It's we released the ballast, but we're not ascending a lot. We don't know why. It probably because it just didn't fucking release.
That's sick, man. I need to read that after this. That sounds fascinating.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Mostly just tweets about being gay in the submarine. Here's a complaint about Star Wars. Logic controllers for sale via Amazon Prime. Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's really fucking boring.
Great tweets though.
Really just outstanding. Oh my god, this one drove me fucking insane too. Sorry, I'm really boomering it up today.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wait, show on the camera.
yeah, so
Hold it close. I'll lean in.
Yeah, so it's the tweet where it's like, without Googling, name an iconic battle or name a famous battle, right? Do you know that format where like, and it's like some like they'll show like a cartoon thing that happened or some shit, you know, like it's a very vague, all-encompassing theory, right? Or like format. Someone is like, really, at Elon Musk, 1 billion views, 1 in 7 people on Earth saw this tweet. Yeah, okay, very real metrics on here, dude.
I fucking hate people.
And it's like, why would you fucking tweet something without at least Googling it? 1, it's not unique viewers, it's just how many people have seen it. 2, it's a quote tweeted format, which means that one person can see it like 400 times. Like, I don't use Twitter that much. I saw that shit like 18 different fucking times a day. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's how it got 1 billion views. Is because it's counting the quote tweet views as well. Like, this is not a hard concept, you dumb asshole. And then he just like the entire time just be like, no, is amazing.
Yeah, the average person doesn't understand how most things work.
Yeah, but like, so for example, the gotcha thing, right? I'm like, wait, what is a gotcha thing? That's how I respond to that. Everyone else, I feel like, is just like, yeah, no, I play a lot of gotchas. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm the first person.
I'm deep in the gotcha crowd.
Like, I'm the first person to be like, yeah, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about, man. Like, what, huh?
People are way too concerned about what other people think of them, and then that just
drives me
results in them
insane.
lying their fucking ass off about very basic shit that they could learn about in 2 seconds. We literally have devices in our hands that can give
everything.
You any answer
I
to any
can see
ever.
1,000 different buttholes right now if I want to.
Yeah. Why do you think it sometimes takes me a few seconds to reply? I'm Googling everything that you just said and forming my opinion on the spot.
Live. That's what you should do. Like, I respect that more than just saying retarded shit. Google things to come at me prepared as I am off the cuff being retarded. That's what you should be doing. That's how you should be attacking me.
No,
I will have...
Go ahead, Jet.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I will form my entire basis and opinion on anything within like 5 seconds of Googling it. And just be like, I know enough information now.
Depending on how I will say, depending on how animated someone is, I will just take the inverse of their opinion, even if I don't believe it. And I will I will hold that fort down under any artillery fire that I can. If I can see you getting upset every time I say something, I will double down.
Yeah,
that is
the right answer.
I was gonna say is like, anytime someone starts to argue, even if I'm wrong and like they've proved me wrong, I'm gonna double down because like you look like a fucking idiot and you're getting pissed off and it's really
it's like I realized I was wrong the second my sentence finished.
Like, oh wait, there's a few fallacies in there. Oops.
Yeah, so like in the blast thread, I confused closed captioning and like narration, and I was like, no, the narration is just reading the closed captioning out loud, which is like not true at all. And then someone like jumped on me. It was like so animated, and I was like, "You're an idiot. You're just so wrong." And I just went to Google. I just typed closed captioning wiki. I screen capped the closed captioning thing, which doesn't agree with anything that I'm saying. It's not on my side whatsoever, and I just posted it. And I was like, "Oh wow, I sure am dumb. Guess you can't fucking read, moron." And like, there were people that were like, Pigs got you there, man. It's like, no, I don't. I didn't even read what I just posted. I'm just dying on a hill because I know the other person is like so upset about me being wrong that now I have to keep being wrong because like it's so much funnier. It's like, I don't know. It's very hard for me to get sucked into something like that where it's like within the first like minute, I'll realize like, oh, you're okay. I see what's happening now. Okay, god damn it. But there are so many people that are like, they will fight you for an hour, and you're like, no, the fucking sky is not. That's where whales live. You fucking retard. Just look it up, man. You've never looked up and seen a whale. You're 26 years old, and you've never seen a whale.
That's
just floating
clearly
above.
Wrong. I've seen your mom on a second-story building.
Nice, dude, because she's a whale. Because she's so fat, and she's a mammal. Nice, dude.
Really nice.
Yeah, she's a nice lady. You know, kind of a little racist, but you know, She talks about how
It's
she
that
wished.
charm.
What was that?
It's that charm she's got.
Hell, that southern twang. I would like to bring up another complaint that I have from Twitter. My Twitter is a goldmine of content for this podcast, by the way.
Yeah, we don't need the
it's
Google
a
Doc
photograph
anymore.
of the cute little Japanese trucks. Let me turn my
Yeah,
brightness down.
the K trucks.
Yeah, the K trucks, and then like I don't know, like a fucking Ford F-150 or some shit, a crew cab. And the tweet is like, these two trucks have the same bed length.
But that doesn't mean
Wow,
shit.
bro, that's awesome. How much torque can the little truck generate? What's the fucking like miles per gallon?
More than enough.
Wow. But the problem is, right, is like the correct nuanced take to that is like, oh yeah, like each truck has like its purpose and like fitting. Like if you're not hauling heavy shit and you just need more like truck space and you don't really give a shit about like nice interiors and carrying people, like the Toyota truck is dirt cheap and it's probably gonna do everything you want it to do. But then everyone's like, half the tweets are like, oh, big truck fucking good. If you don't drive a big truck, you're fucking gay and retarded. And it's like, no. Like, 80% of people who own big trucks are gay and retarded and shouldn't own that because they have zero use for it. And it's like, growing up in construction and like working in the trades, I like learned pretty quick, like, oh, this is who the truck is for. If you work in any sort of trade, you need a truck 100%. If you don't work in a trade or like need a toy hauler, and you own a truck, you should be put in prison and lit on fire.
The worst is, have you seen the trucks that have the Carolina squat?
I have no what that is.
Enlighten me.
I would like to know more about the Carolina squat.
Are gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
So it's only I don't say this very often. Anyone that has a Carolina squatted truck are just fucking retarded.
Okay.
That's appropriate.
That do these.
Let me see.
They're all like this. I just put one in the chat.
Oh, okay. You know, I was gonna try and play devil's advocate and do the thing where I pretend to be.
Can't.
There's no defense. So for those of you wondering, it's basically like you're trying to pop a wheelie on your truck at all times.
Look at how hideous that one's got RGB in the wheels.
Now, to clarify, the issue with this isn't even that this looks ugly. It's that this looks ugly and costs $48,000 for just the truck. That's the only problem.
The type of people that drive it are usually like kids in high school / like those guys that would go to high school parties in their like mid-20s to early 30s.
Hey, whoa.
Sorry.
Hey, man, how else are you supposed to get laid, man? I don't understand. These young,
Why are we
vulnerable
grouping these
women.
two groups?
Yeah, one of these groups, very smart, using their resources well, sort of playing the dating market appropriately, understanding the sort of the pros and cons of younger women.
But they're all the same. Where you
sort
open
of
the
risk
door
takers,
and 48 dip cans fall out.
Entrepreneurs.
There's usually some sort of like cheetah print headliner. There's 48 black ice little fucking tree things.
Good.
They're all awful.
Um.
Yeah, I hate people.
I will say I've never seen this in my life before now.
It is a big thing.
Yeah, I've never seen it either, and it looks terrible. Trucks
horrible.
cost so much money that whenever I see someone own a truck, I get mad at them.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Trucks are expensive.
like a really like a standard truck, I'll say, like not something where you're like removing packages or like you're getting an older truck, but like a modern day truck, you're starting at $40,000.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that would be considered low.
yeah, me too.
It's higher.
I also, well, I know it's higher because I've had to fucking shop for new trucks, but I'm saying like, because there's gonna be some retard that's like, actually, I got this Toyota thing that's 23 years old, fucking used for $40,000. I got a killing on it, and I'm like, no, you got killed on it, you fucking retard. But yeah, trucks are like
178,000 miles on it. What a steal!
Hot take, only because I had to like,
let's hear.
I had to maintain the fleet of vehicles at like my shop. Every vehicle I've ever driven has made it to 400,000 miles. And we got rid before it died. We never had to rebuild an engine or anything. It was just.
That's the thing. That's because you took care of it. The majority of normal ass people
will drive it until it's dead at 60,000 miles an hour.
I was gonna say
60,000 miles.
There are very different use cases there, where the average person like won't change the oil.
Yeah.
Every 100,000 kilometers.
Yeah. I remember like it was so weird because like because there are just some things like you can't do on your own with a vehicle like reasonably, and I can't remember what it was.
I disagree.
Base take. There like some code came on and we were like, we put like our little code scanner and we're like, this is a little out of our understanding. We don't want to fuck up our truck. Something was wrong with the piston, so we took it in And they were like, how the fuck does this truck have 400,000 miles in the original engine? I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, we just changed the oil when you're fucking supposed to, and like rotate the tires and like change the transmission fluid. And sorry, continue.
No, I think the main thing that is why cars end up fucking falling apart. How many times have you been in a car with someone where they throw that bitch into reverse and it's still going backwards and they pop that shit into drive and just take off?
Now, what's wrong with using a little momentum on your side?
Hell yeah.
Those gears are spinning for a reason.
Yeah, nothing is funny. My friend's like, yeah, my transmission's giving out. I don't know why. And then I just watch them just fucking rape their transmission. And it's like, why are you doing this, man? This is fucked up. Like, yeah, shit is insanity. It is so easy to not have your car fucking go boom. That.
Now, you say this, but you've not had my car. And it goes boom on a monthly basis.
I will also clarify. I will remove anyone who lives in a snow area from this conversation. I'm specifically talking about people that live in the Arizona, California, New Mexico area.
Oh yeah, you don't have to deal with any
the
issues.
salt isn't just literally there's not like a stacking debuff on your car that's like degrading its life force away.
Every year you own it, it just gets another stack.
Because like every single car up here, right? I don't care if it's the most brand new Escalade. The bottom of that car is rusting out from the road salt. Yep. Just
well, that's what happened to my transmission when it blew. The cap on the pump just rusted through, and it's like, okay, now it exploded. But that's getting a fancy new one, and there's nothing else that could go wrong with it.
I'm looking for more things that I tweeted that were based.
I still can't get over this Carolina squat. Like, I've never been exposed to anything like that.
You never popped a wheelie?
I've never seen a truck trying to do a push-up.
Okay, hold on. Put yourself in the shoes of someone who's driving that truck. What can you see in front of you?
Nothing, and I think that's
nothing but the open road, baby.
Yeah. You're praying straight to the skies.
Do you ever think about like how really small statements can like have massive impacts on your life going forward, like when you're young?
Yeah, 100%.
So like one of the biggest things that I learned that like has 100% influenced my driving instructor was like, whoa, whenever you come to a stop, you should be able to see the fucking like license plate of the car in front of you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is like, of course, duh. But if I hadn't been told that, I might be one of the dumb assholes that rear ends everyone at every single fucking red light. And it's just like, yeah, all it took was one sentence to make me not be a retard.
I'm just making room for the guy behind me.
Yeah.
We all hug in close. It's fine.
It's really funny when you see people get really close like that at intersections, but there's so many goddamn Teslas out here that the car itself will scoot itself forward so it doesn't get hit. And you see it every single stoplight where someone is just coming in a little too hot, about to hit a car, and the Tesla will just like go forward a couple feet.
Has this happened to me like 4 different times? The car in front of you stops at the light, and then you see them put their reverse lights on.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is trying to throw their car in neutral and then accidentally switching it into reverse at a stoplight? Why are you putting your car in neutral at the stoplight?
I don't even think it's that. They're throwing it into park because they're so lazy they don't want to put their foot on the brake, and then they pop that shit back into drive, and it's got to go through all the things in the prindle.
No. So when the lights are on, every time they've driven backwards at me, and I've had to honk at them.
Oh, then those people are stupid.
Yes. This is not like I'll just put it in park. That would like track in my head, kind of. But these people are like accidentally putting their car in reverse somehow. And it's like, it's really easy to put your car in drive from reverse, because if you just pull down when you're in reverse will click into neutral every time. No, you don't have to hold your button down. It'll just click into neutral, and neutral will click into drive without pressing your button. Does not go the inverse though. So like, I understand like videos where grandma accidentally fucking plows through a donut shop trying to back out. That makes sense. Like, oh, maybe you moved your purse and you clicked the thing you didn't hear or some shit. That I can at least understand. But also, why are you backing out so fast? Why is that happening?
They got places to be.
It's like those
so bad.
Those videos shock me, because it's like I think about it and I'm like, how? Because like whenever I see something happen, before I'm like, what a retard. I go, how could this happen to me?
Yeah.
How could I become this retard? Before I make a tweet, and then 10 years later, someone's like, oh, here's you tweeting. I was be too dumb. How could this happen? And I sit there and I think, and I'm like, okay. Why the fuck are you stomping on the go pedal when you have it in reverse? Why are you trying to reverse at 86 miles an hour? Like, the people not check their mirror? Like, when I'm reversing and shit, like, my fucking head is turned around. And I'm scanning to make sure I don't fucking hit anything. And if I'm turning while I'm doing it, I will stop, look forward to make sure the front of my car isn't going to fucking remove the car in front of me. Then I'm looking back behind me and continuing my process. And I feel like a lot of motherfuckers are just like, sure as fuck hope this works out. And just through RNG, they haven't killed anybody, you know?
I don't want to be that guy, but hi, Aethil.
Hello,
I don't want to
Aethil.
be that guy, but you say this. I remember you driving the Alero in high school. You were whipping that shit.
To clarify,
let's hear that.
When I first got my license, if it were not for Elia, I would be the worst driver. I would be dead. There would be hundreds in the wake of my vehicle. This was like the biggest wake up call for me. Was I remember my girlfriend at the time. She got into a car accident. And she texted me she got into a car accident, and I said, "Lol, get owned," thinking that she was kidding. You know, because like she was like, "Yeah, I had a punctured lung, all this stuff." I thought she was making up a story. I was like, "That's fucking hilarious, man." And then come to find out, I wasn't dating her at the time. She was just my friend. And, you know, because I was like, oh, like, can you come, like, come meet us here and hang out? She's like, nah, I just got into a car accident. I have a punctured lung. I thought she was just like, oh, I can't come. I'll go to car. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, buddy. Go fuck yourself, retard. And then, like, the next day at school, everyone's like, you know, after, you know, school, let's go visit Elia in the hospital. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I've got some text to unsend. Also, hi, Aethil. How are you?
Welcome, Aethil.
Good.
What's
How are
your
you guys doing?
Pretty good now that you're here. Does your wife have a favorite flavor of cake?
Probably just like, I mean, first would probably be like ice cream cake.
Okay.
And then just like a white cake.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And when we say a white
I can see that
cake,
one coming.
I don't. Very curious.
She's from the South. So.
Oh, shucks. Yeah, listen, I understand that Florida is from the South, but I feel like Florida is so fucked up that I don't think of it as the South. I think of it as like its own like it is its own area. It is its own technicality in existence. Someone's like, yeah, I'm from the South. Like Florida supersedes South, right? Like,
no, I mean, you should. The way to think of Florida is kind of break it into three categories. You have South Florida, which is like Cuba, and then you have Central Florida, which is old people, and then you have North Florida, which is the actual Southerners, like rednecks. So the funny thing with Florida is the further north you go, the more southern it gets.
Are you saying your wife is a redneck?
No, she's just from that area.
I see.
The area she's from is actually just called Lower Alabama.
Redneck, got it.
Weird coincidence.
Yeah. So you're saying that with enough alcohol, we could get, you know, sort of Renobe and May aligned on some positions.
No, I don't think so.
You
want to
don't
leave.
think Renobe would go far enough to follow your wife down her spiral? I see.
Perhaps not.
I see. Confirmation. But anyways, going back to the cake question, to the homeless man that I was speaking to earlier in this podcast, okay? Ice cream cake. That's
when it was just you on the podcast?
It was me, Jit, and Austin. You were speaking, and I was sort of directing a homeless man to give your wife a cake full of laxatives on her way to work.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
Yeah. Sort of reaching out to him. Yeah. So we'll see how that pans out.
There might be like a task rabbit you can hire.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and give you. We're sort of gonna go through an intelligence check right now of our previous topics. Aethil.
Okay.
If I locked you in a room and just started filling it with gas fumes, would you be okay or would you not feel good?
You mean like my physical reaction or like my mental reaction?
But either. So what's gonna happen is we lock you in like a little like vacuum chamber, and I just start pumping in gas fumes. Are you gonna feel good or bad at the end of that experiment?
bad. That's how
You
people
seem to be
commit
a
suicide.
lot smarter than the average person on Twitter then, because they couldn't believe that if you just, trap wasps in gasoline, they die. They're like, I never knew that if you use one of the most toxic substances on Earth on bugs, they will also die. Can you
Do
believe
they not
it?
hear of like all of the people that kill themselves by
What?
shutting their garage door and
Okay.
leaving their car running?
But that's like exhaust fumes. What I'm talking about is just raw gasoline.
Oh, like just the fumes off of
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gasoline sitting there.
Yes. Like we're slowly replacing your air with gasoline huffing.
Air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Just like skimming off the top of a little barrel.
Yeah, just a little huff. And then we were just scrolling through my old tweets to see things that upset me that I tweeted about. And it turns out I just have banger after banger of me being upset.
He gets upset often.
Yes. Because when I get mad on Twitter, so I'll draft tweets every once in a while, and I'm like,
This kind of started around like 2020-ish.
No, this
like
is
early 2020.
This has been the thing since always. Is like sometimes I'll get annoyed enough that I'll fucking
It's okay, Grandpa. Use the words.
Yeah, sorry. I read a tweet that pissed me off. I'm reigniting my anger. This dumb motherfucker. All right, they're talking about how Discord is like adding all this like dumb shit. Like, oh, it's got the new AI bot, fucking Timmy that's gonna do this shit. Back when like ChatGPT was like popping off, right? And this dumb motherfucker who should be put in a dog cage and tased every day for 6 months tweets, once upon a time, there was a program called Skype. Skype was too big to fail. Everyone used it, which is already a retarded statement. Everyone hated Skype from the fucking beginning. No one was ever like, wow, nothing's going to replace Skype. Everyone was like, I can't wait for something to replace Skype. And he says,
I remember before Discord came out when people were getting pissed off that Skype was auto-installing on all Windows devices.
Yes.
And
and then
I remember making Skype my very firm position where I didn't join Discord because I was like, no, we're on Skype. We don't need Discord.
Yeah.
And that's why I joined so late.
I guess my one thing that's making me think of Skype is a question for the group of when like using some sort of online video chat or like conference calling, people say like I Zoomed someone or I Skyped someone.
Yeah.
There's not a good one for, you don't say you disked someone.
Well, you
So,
kind of,
like-
you said like you DM'd him or you chatted. You're a lot more vague.
So like what do we think is the best out of those like colloquialisms that the brand has become the phrase?
Oh, so sort of like the Xerox effect you're saying?
Yeah, or like a Kleenex or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say either Skype or honestly FaceTime. I have met a lot of people that if we call on Discord, they're like, yeah, so when we FaceTime the other day.
Yeah.
I think that would be like
Yeah.
the new one.
FaceTime's probably the best example.
It is funny, like when I think of FaceTime, just when you like really think about it, it's kind of very dumbed down. Like, what did you do? I'd spent time with their
my
face.
Yeah.
Like FaceTime.
I mean, it's great branding though. It comes out great.
Similar to Facebook, but
I will. This isn't a brand, but I will say that I use the word texting very loosely. Where like if I PM someone on Discord, I might say, oh yeah, I texted him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone should be doing it like that at least.
I think I go, if I use my phone, I texted someone through like my actual like SMS or whatever the fuck it is now protocol. And if I was using another app, I messaged them.
I see.
Interesting distinction. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of there, but there will be times where I said like, oh, I texted so and so, but like, I had your phone number, but I didn't text you. I just fucking messaged you like on Discord or some shit.
Yeah, I agree with Aethil. It's definitely like no matter what, unless I specifically text them, I say messaging.
Ooh, a big one too is people who say PM or DM. Like that.
You gotta use them both.
Well, yeah, I use them both.
Keep them on their toes.
But it's like that's a big indicator of like what someone grew up playing or using. If they use like DM versus PM, whereas like if someone says PM, you're like, okay, you play a lot of like specific like MMOs. Like PM is more of like an MMO term, whereas like DM is like Twitter and shit.
It's kind of weird because I would say like I DM'd someone even though like the only game that I really played a lot besides like Civilization was WoW when I was younger.
But
so
I'm about to blow your mind, Aethil. You never played a lot of video games. You don't count as a like video gamer person. Like,
I mean, I played a lot of video games for
No.
like 2
Wrong.
years.
Wrong. So Aethil is doing the thing that like somebody who it's like when girls talk about being horny and they're like, I'm a freak too. Like, ooh, it's like, no, Aethil, you vacationed in video game land. I'm a prisoner in video game land. Like, your most hardcore 2 years of gaming is probably equivalent to like 6 months of my playing video games, like of any given time in my life, right? Which isn't to say that you're not a gamer. I'm just saying that like your definition of like I was a gamer, man, is like, oh, listen, buddy. All right, you played some games.
I mean, like
games
my like senior year of high school, that was Burning Crusade time for me.
Fuck yeah, man.
It was pretty much like if I wasn't at school or at practice for whatever sport, I was.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
I was
was
playing
playing
church or out with my family or doing sports or studying or doing homework or hanging with people
I logged
after
a
class.
solid 3 hours a week and WoW.
You know, there were
I
some
did.
days
I will
where
say
I played 4 to 5 hours straight. You know, crazy.
No, I mean I would do like the overnight, like
Nice.
you're like looking at the clock and you're like, oh, my dad gets up soon. I should go to bed so he doesn't see the blue light under my door.
Dude, I miss that feeling of like hearing your dad get up in the morning and you're still playing games and you're like, I'm gonna get yelled at. I need to go the fuck to sleep. Which, like,
I need to pretend.
it's such a weird relationship that so people have with their parents. Like, why the fuck would you care that your son is playing video games super late into the fuck? Who gives a shit, man? Like,
See, I had the opposite reaction where like I would save up all my money and I bought like Turtle Beaches.
oh yeah.
So I would just like forget what time it was, and my dad would just walk in and start like, "Hey, why the fuck are you up still?"
Oh,
I like big old bag.
You're like, no, I woke up earlier.
I just woke up. I wanted to play games.
There were times I looked my father, a grown man, in the eyes on 0 hours of sleep and went, Father, I've just woken up. So I'm sort of on the grind better than you. Maybe you need to start waking up earlier if I'm out here beating you. And then, shit like that. Speaking of Turtle Beaches, there is like there has to be some fucking nerd who knows like a term for this. But like, imagine like the invention, like the invention of the bullet, right? And how that like completely changed warfare forever, right? Just the invention of like gunpowder, right? And like the rapid evolution. That is like headsets for gaming. Like the Turtle
it was the
Beach
catalyst.
headset. Yeah, where it's like by owning a Turtle Beach headset, I had like the equivalent of like a neural implant as a child of like my ability to process sound and know where you are on a map is so far beyond what your speakers can produce. It's not fair. You are fucked.
Yep. Yeah, I remember like saving up all my money, and it was like right when Turtle Beaches kind of came out, and I bought the X12s at GameStop. And I remember the dude being like, "Oh, dude, these are a game changer." And in my head, I'm like, "They're just headphones, and I want to be able to hear shit." And then I had to do the thing where you had to like fuck with the cables because it was the red, white, and yellow one, and the cables just running across my room. It's like 9 feet long for whatever reason. Good times.
I remember getting super into like video game YouTubing, like really like 2009, right? And I remember someone being like, "Dead silence is the best perk to use. You basically can't hear anyone walk." And I was like, "Oh, you think I can't hear you walk?" You know, so like the loudest sound, my brain is like rattling in my skull, but I can like yes, I hear you walking, you little bastard. Like, you think you've outsmarted me? I'll fucking damage my hearing to kill you, you dumb motherfucker. Oh man.
That or trying to like convince my parents to buy me a fucking Hoppage HDR fucking screen captured thingy because I wanted to be a YouTuber so bad, but they didn't. So I ended up just like recording my display or my screen.
I remember making RuneScape content, putting a camcorder facing my fucking screen. And as a kid, I was like, I don't understand. Why does my footage look so grainy and shit? But everyone, like, how does everyone else frame this? I spent like hours trying to frame it just perfectly where you couldn't see anything, but it still looks grainy. How are they doing? Like, there's got to be a way. Just no idea what Fraps was. Just fucking retarded.
Yep. Oh my god, Fraps brings me back, dude. just recording like Minecraft content at like 12 years old with the little Fraps FPS counter in the top left that I just like, oh, that's pure nostalgia. I forgot Fraps existed.
The fact that you were 12 and Minecraft existed sort of made me feel old for a second.
Okay, I just said 12.
Austin, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Yeah,
Oh god, the
Yeah,
baby.
I don't think I was 12. I think I was older.
Can you believe this, Aethil?
No,
These
actually, I
these
think I was 12
kids.
'cause I was
Young
playing.
kids.
I was playing Alpha. I've been playing Minecraft since Alpha.
Yeah. I've already told this story before, but the fact I'll never forget fucking getting everyone at school together to show them Minecraft, confusing Minecraft and Minesweeper, and just the look on their face of like, the fuck is wrong with you? You fucking read. This isn't a funny bit. Everyone thought I was trying to be funny and like it like played as a great joke, but I was actually just retarded, and I just thought that everyone was playing Minesweeper. And I was just like, I can't get into it, man. Like, I'm trying to understand why you guys like Minecraft. This shit sucks, okay? It's fucking dog shit.
Speaking of Windows native games, what about pinball?
Pinball.
You remember pinball?
I
Yep.
played so much pinball.
Yeah. Pinball was like, so my dad would take me
Boot up noise.
to the office and just like, he'd be like, yeah, you don't need to go to school today. Like, school's for like liberals anyways. And he'd just take me to the office, like, you just fuck on the pinball machine. And the reason he did that because he didn't want to pick me up from school. So he's like, oh, just don't go to school. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Here's like your book.
Yeah.
Go read it. And yeah, instead of being smart and using the internet, I would just read. So it actually worked out really well for him because like I've always read my school textbooks. Like, actually read them like cover to cover because I was like, what the fuck else am I gonna do? He told me not to use the internet. I'm not gonna get in trouble. And so like, unironically, reading your textbook alone as a child and like dutifully studying it is 1,000 times more effective than actually going to school. You learn so much shit. So like, I remember like just always reading my history textbooks, and now I have like an autistic fascination with like all things history. Because my dad locked me in a room. What's up?
Did you guys ever have the experience of having like the iPod Shuffle, the little USB stick one, but your parents wouldn't buy you music, so you had to download it using fucking LimeWire, and all of the viruses would get on your computer, but you're like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me, Dad. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like,
I was
is
too
this
good
Green
for the
Day album
virus.
an EXE?
I genuinely, this is the most insane thing that I think I'll ever think in my entire life.
Oh god.
I didn't know music was like a popular thing until like high school. Like, I genuinely thought that like every movie composed original songs, and that like there were like 90 people that made music in the world.
So you never saw a movie that
Is
had the
this like
same
a
song as
Mormon
different
thing?
Movie?
Sorry.
It's definitely a Mormon thing.
No, it's definitely not Mormon because everyone in my family listened to music. I like genuinely didn't know that like an artist was a thing, right? Like I remember finding out like I watched 8 Mile and I was like, wow, and they're like, oh yeah, it's about Eminem, and I'm like, no, it's like the guy in the movie, but like, I wonder who made those songs. Like, no, it's a real fucking dude. And I was like, what? And I looked at the discography and I was like, wait, you're telling me there's like more than like 50 people that like do this? There's like a bunch of them, and they're like, are you fucking retarded? And I'm like, yes. And I remember finding out that like music was a thing. I thought there was like Beethoven and like the dude who makes movie scores.
Yeah, like that's it.
So, and I had to clarify, like when there was like a pop song in a movie, I was like, oh, I guess like that's just what like one of the dudes who makes the music sounds like. He wanted to sing this one. That's crazy. Yeah, well. And I found out like there were bands. Like the concept of a band was like foreign to me. I was like, what the fuck? Like I knew what a band was, but I thought every band was a cover band doing movie songs. Like it was the most insane. There's no defense of this. It's fucking insane.
Absolutely not.
But-
That's some like, well, when my parents let me out of the bunker when I was 18.
Yeah.
And the weird part, like, my parents loved music and they were like really into me. I just didn't understand. For whatever reason, I just never figured out what a fucking band was. Like, I'm fucking.
They
retarded.
really like these music soundtracks.
Yeah,
They keep
oh,
playing
Led
them all the time.
Zeppelin? Who are they a cover band for?
Yeah. Literally.
Led Zeppelin?
I was like, oh, well, like they're doing okay, they're Led Zeppelin is the guy who made the fucking music for the Thor movie, of course. Like that's who did it.
Yeah. It was like, oh, immigrant song.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, Hans Zimmer makes like 86% of all music. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, duh. And it's like, you know, like listening to like GTA, right? All the radio stations. I was like, damn, bro, they must have gotten like every musician in the world to work on this fucking. That's crazy. one of the most retarded things I've ever thought, and like, just I remember being in high school, like listening to music for the first time, being like, "There's more of this shit." Like, you can find the dude who made a song, and he made more than one. Like, there isn't just one. There's like a bunch of them, and they probably sound similar. There's a genre. Like, so if I like the sound of the drums getting hit and shit, like that's a thing that I can just listen to. They're like, yes. I was like, fucking sick, dude. That's badass. And I just got into music. So, yeah, I never had that iPod problem because I didn't know.
I'm trying to think if there was like a thing that like that where I just had a complete misconception of a concept. Like,
my shit was so far removed from the like. I've actually had similar. So another one. Everyone always talked about having butt sex, and I just imagined it was people just ramming their asses into each other. I was like, why would you want to have butt sex? That sounds fucking lame, man. I don't like that. And then I found out dudes can fuck other dudes in their butt, and I was like, oh, butt sex, duh. I was like probably 9 when I figured that one out, but you
were hooked from that on.
Yeah, then just
wild.
I remember someone else talking to that was like in high school, like a 15-year-old woman and girl, woman, I guess. And her.
What are you, Matt Gates?
She was mature for her age.
Yeah, very mature for her age.
She was a woman.
17-year-old girl, 17-year-old woman.
But yeah, I had to explain to her that like a stoplight is a light. There isn't like a gnome that lives in there that changes them.
What?
She was genuinely convinced. This was like her music take, basically. She legitimately believed there were just little gnomes that lived in the stop signs that would like sort of run traffic.
Like actual gnomes, not just like a small person flipping a switch, but
yes.
a
she
gnome.
imagined very tiny people. She didn't think they were gnomes. She just
like
thought
child labor.
No, well, it would have to be like the size of a
like
a fucking teacup.
Like in the stoplight.
She's imagining this is a 3-man crew, sort of manning a tank, communicating with the other lights. Like, Bravo 6-1, this is Sierra Lima 3. We're seeing about 6 cars moving northbound on our approach here. Gonna go ahead and shift to yellow now. Is that good with you, sir? And he's like, yeah, this is Tango 64 Whiskey 5. We're reading you loud and clear. Go ahead and shift her to yellow over. And she was like, oh, well, the reason you get stuck at lights at night is because they're sleepy. I remember her explaining to me, being like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? Like,
you said she was 15. My next question was going to be, did she have her driver's license?
No, she did not. I can't believe people don't have driver's license and they're like real. I've dated more than one woman that didn't have a driver's license, and they were like 25 plus.
Bay doesn't have one right now.
Yeah, that's like, you're not a real person.
Did they like perpetually have a boyfriend?
Well, yeah, no shit. Why? Duh. What other symptom would cause a girl to not get her license for that long, Aethil?
Well, I'm wondering, like cause versus effect. Was it like that, she didn't get her license because she always had a boyfriend? Like, which came first, sort of thing?
Here is my interpretation. You take a 15-year-old girl. She's nervous about getting her driver's license. The thought of getting it is scary. So what she does is she starts dating a boy who's not too nervous for a driver's license. And then she just makes sure she's always dating a boy with a driver's license, and she never has to face that fear.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And she makes it to, like, she's 40.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I should probably get a driver's license.
Yeah, it's like, it's too late,
I've only met one person that didn't have their driver's license at like an age where you would expect them to have their driver's license, and they grew up in New York City and like continue to live in New York City.
You're about to meet a second one at my birthday party.
Oh, who's that?
His name is Tay.
Oh.
Wait, does Tay still not have a license?
No interest. He doesn't care.
I know you're listening to this, but what the fuck?
He's 100. Yeah. Listen. Some people just make a decision where they're just like, yeah, no, I don't like. Fuck it, man. Like, I don't care.
I unironically think that's DoorDash specifically targeting him to convince him not to get a license.
So I want to clarify that your idea is that DoorDash is sort of giving him food that they've put a spice in to convince him to not get a driver's license. Is your take?
No, just like maybe they're like, how they can specifically target you and certain people and like groups of people with ads, and like
You're 100%
maybe
right there.
DoorDash is running like a driver's licenses are dumb. Like, why don't you just use DoorDash ad? And he's just gotten this messaging.
Yes.
He's in that niche subgroup.
That's actually probably like an actual thing. To play devil's advocate, all right, there are probably people who have spent more on owning and driving a car than Tay has spent on transportation.
Oh, 100%. Like, having a car is expensive, especially if you have a
especially if you're an idiot and you buy a new car.
Yeah, new car, and you got to take it to the dealership every month to have your oil changed by the guys and the windshield wipers.
Okay, let's record.
I'm just trying to see how many things I can say to set off shit.
Just for the record, just for everyone here, because this is a real thing. Most people don't know this. You should probably change your oil every 3 to 4 months or every 2,000 miles, whatever comes first. And your car will.
Miles.
Is that too high? Is that, you don't like that number?
That's so low.
It depends. Well, it also depends on like the type of oil. If you have like a synthetic oil, that's like 6,000 miles or something.
Yeah, we make like long range, like 10,000 plus mile.
I would never trust that in my life. We've always done, at least where I work, we've always done it's like before 3,000. But like once it is 2,000, it's on our radar.
Is that like also because you were driving work trucks that were hauling shit and maybe the engines put through a little bit more than someone commuting?
But I mean, like we even applied that because like we also paid for everyone's cars to get the oil change, and it's like that's just a thing we would do at the office where it's like, yeah, it's Tuesday, like I'm already changing all the trucks' oils, like everyone just roll through. We've got like, you make like a deal with like a company for oil, and it's like they send you like a crate of like Castrol and shit. Speaking of getting free shit, I'm blown away by how few people know how much free shit you can get if you just put a little bit of effort into things. My dad would just show up randomly. Like, if you own a forklift, which obviously it's very few people do, but if you own a forklift, you can get so much free shit. Like, my dad would like talk to the Costco guys, and he would just get returned merchandise crates, and it was literally just like a loot box. Like,
is that because like
it's going to the garbage anyways?
Oh, okay. Is it like foodstuffs or like just anything?
It is fucking. Usually it's food, and it's like like the corner of this packaging got like crumpled, and like we've decided that like we don't want to sell this. But it's also like, yeah, here's like a crate of shirts because like we just didn't sell them, and
they like don't want to pay the money to ship it back across the ocean to China to put in a landfill.
Yep, and well, it's like having shit. This is actually crazy because I'm sure you know this. This isn't like a dig on you, but there are some people who don't realize that it costs money to have something not sell. It is taking up space in your area of operation where you could be selling other shit. Yeah. And so it's like a lot of times they'll just like throw garbage, like just gone. It is more expensive to keep it around than it is to like just give it to somebody. Like it is more cost effective to just give it to somebody. So it's like if you're like a higher up at any big like boxed warehouse place, like you've probably just been able to get tons of free shit because it was gonna go in the garbage anyways. Usually it's not good shit because or else it would fucking sell. But it's like, yeah, I got 47, 100, Joe or Hillary Clinton for president shirts. Like, yay, I guess.
Well, you got rags for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, free shirts we got ridiculous.
My parents love doing like the. It's your birthday, get a free ice cream sundae at X restaurant. It's, like anything like that.
You think I've ever paid for a meal on my birthday? I'm not just walking around going store to store to store, opening every loot box they'll offer me. Oh, I get a free straw? Fuck it, I'll take it. Someone's giving me a drink down the line, motherfucker. Yeah. Did you guys ever trick or treat as children?
Yeah. I was going to bring that up when you were talking about weird things that you believed or didn't believe when you were a child. And I'm kind of like the reverse of you, where there were things that you didn't know as a child that you should have known. And I'm like the reverse, where I knew stuff
things. Yeah.
that I shouldn't have known as a child.
Yes.
Like trick-or-treating is for the devil, so never
Yeah,
trick-or-treated.
of course.
And
Good.
I've also never believed in Santa Claus.
Yeah. Well, duh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you trying to say about Santa?
Dude,
Hold on.
I remember like a fist fight breaking out in like 2nd grade over the existence of Santa Claus. And like my parents were super chill. They're like, listen, man, money's tight. Santa Claus isn't real, okay? You're not getting shit, man. I don't fucking tell you. I don't want you to think Santa Claus hates you. We're just poor. Get fucked, retard. I don't know to tell you. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, dog.
I feel like that's a better reason than mine, but to like tell your child that Santa Claus isn't real.
Well, it's blasphemy. So your parents are actually based.
Yeah, mine was like, well, Christmas is about Christ, Mas, you know, more
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. It's just sort of a Spanish holiday.
Yeah, Spanish holiday.
Yeah.
And Santa Claus is not Christ, so
Of course. Of course.
God blessed our parents with this money to buy you presents for Christmas.
Nice. It still worked out in the end. I'd take that deal.
Now I'm thinking about like fucked up things that I witnessed as a child. This poor kid, man. So he's at the urinal. It's like 3rd grade. And he's pulling a Butters where his pants are at his ankles. And he's pulling his shirt up to pee. And I'm washing my hands. I finished, you know. And some kid walks in and just kicks him right in his ass. And he like falls into the urinal, pees all over himself and the man who kicked him. And for like 5 or 6 years, I would always pee in a stall standing up because I was like, you will never kick me into the urinal. This is not gonna fucking happen to me. So like that just burned. I was just full Butters, just kicked into the urinal. I'm just watching piss go everywhere and being like, that would have been me. Like had I not pissed a little faster, that would have been me.
My freshman year roommate in college would only piss in the stall. Like,
yeah,
he would not piss in a urinal.
Into the fucking urinal.
He was triggered.
Yeah.
It was that kid.
Yeah, that was the kid. Did he recently come from California? Like, oh my god, it's so weird to think of like the traumatic shit that can like just echo through your life. Where like you do some weird shit and you're like, why do I do this? And you're like, oh yeah, because that kid got kicked into the urinal, and I was like, oh, I don't want that to be me.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Never catch me with my pants down.
Or like,
it is kind of like there's so many things where you're like, you've forgotten about them, but then you like remember it randomly because there's something else that happens that like jogs your memory from 15 years ago, and you're like, wow, yeah, that was like really messed up, and like people would not be okay with that nowadays.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Or like or even some of it's good stuff too. So like I have this like distinct memory of like 5th or 6th grade of having a crush on a girl, and then telling her and her being like, oh, that's cool, but I'm not interested. And me being like, oh, rejection isn't that bad. And then just like the fact that early I was able to like figure out like the worst she can do is say no or shoot you in the chest with a handgun. Those are the 2 worst things she can do. Like completely shaped my social like existence, where it's like, I think it's why I've like pursued so many women in my life. It's like, yeah, who gives a shit if like she tells me I suck? Like there's like 80 more. There's like a lot of girls, it turns out.
and why the police are still pursuing him.
Listen, man. Don't worry about it. All right. I won't beat the case. There is no case, by the way. There's no case. All right, I've done nothing wrong. I'm a good boy.
They're actively building.
Well,
the
there
case.
is a case of something else
That is true.
you have.
That is true. But it's not a legal matter, okay? So it's fine. You know? It's an
That's
insurance
between
matter.
me and my physician.
Uh-oh. Oh my
no.
god. Speaking of my physician, dude. Motherfucking I have to call my insurance company and like bitch with them because I owe like almost $2,000 in medical bills from going to the doctor one time and getting one blood test.
That's
And-
insane.
Yeah. Well, but the insane part is that according to my insurance, the most I should be paying is $20
Yeah.
because that's my copay. And it's like I shouldn't have had to even pay a copay on that. Goodbye, Austin. But also, see, I have to like call them and figure that shit out. But also, worst case scenario, I just pay like $2,000 because it all goes towards my deductible, and now I've capped out my deductible, and I'm just gonna go get an MRI every 5 minutes.
Just as often as you physically can.
Oh yeah, 100%. If I can't beat this, and I hit my deductible, like every test I've ever wanted is being ran.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna X-ray my brain every 5 minutes. We're gonna build so many fucking tumors.
Like it would. So did they like say that the blood test would be covered, and then now they're like, nah, it's not?
No,
or
I never
like...
talked to my insurance. Like they just ordered the blood tests, and specifically in my insurance that I fucking signed up for, it says all Mayo Clinic employees, fucking like you're like you 20 like you're as long as it's part of the physical and like your actual like course of treatment, we will pay for like all of it. It's like the most you'll ever have to pay is for 20% of the procedures, and for whatever reason. It, like the blood test is like $1,200, but they're charging me $600. And I'm like, well, that's not 20%. Like, it would be like it should be like $300 at most. But it all counts towards my deductible. So like worst case scenario, if I don't beat the case, like I'll have just capped my deductible and I'll go fucking do every test I want and punish the system for fucking me. But hopefully, like, so my assumption is what happened is I just swapped insurance. And they did bill my correct insurance. I double checked. It is the correct insurance. But I don't think they put my like things in correctly, because there's just no universe where I should owe like $2,000. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
They used your old numbers with a new insurance company.
Like my assumption is they just put something in wrong, or they billed it wrong or something. Because like my deductible is like $600 per person and $1,200 per family. So like I can't even pay over $1,200 for this, but they're trying to charge me $2,000. So it's like, yeah, I don't fucking know. And so I gotta like go bitch at somebody. But
have you considered just not having insurance and deductibles and that?
Good idea.
Just letting the government handle that.
What's cool too is like I'll probably do this while I'm at work. Like I'll probably just go walk down to the office and like go talk to them. Because pretty much the thing you can do. Like I got all my blood tests and shit done while I was at work. Like I got paid while it was happening, because like all the people in my office were like, yeah, no, if you have like tests for an appointment, just go. Like we'll cover you. Who gives a shit? Like the only time that we would get mad is if like it was busy. But like no one's here today, so who gives a shit?
You know what they say? They always say, take blood tests on company time.
Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I get blood work done on company time.
Yeah.
Common expression. Yeah, I don't know. Or like I am just blown away every time I witness the average competency of an American citizen. It shocks me how low it is. Like
with a particular skill, or just like wide range of skills, like
any skill, any fucking skill. If I were to interact with 100 people doing a skill that is in their specialty, 86% of those people would come away with me going, I think I have like a 2% less understanding of what his job is than he does. Or like the amount of people that like don't give a fuckington at work, like just drives me insane sometimes. Because like everyone will bitch and be like, oh my god, it's so slow, or I hate this. And then like they're actively avoiding doing anything. And it's like, do the best way to pass time. Go do all the dumb shit that's boring, because you'll fucking go home before you realize it. Instead of just like NPC looking at a wall like 6 more hours. Fuck, man. 5 hours, 59 more minutes. Fuck, man. Like I just, there are so few times in my life other than specific days where there was literally nothing to do. And it's like you're staring at a wall where it's like, oh, the day just was so dragged today. Every day it's like I find something to do for me, so that my day isn't shit, And people are not very good at that.
Yeah, it can be tough. Like,
again,
like especially when you like it's the same thing over and over again, and like you can do it, but then it's just like same problem.
Yeah, and to clarify, it's like the two specific jobs I had were like, there's like a lot of human interaction, which like inherently throws a giant wrench of RNG of like, it's really hard to have a fucking repeat thing because of like how varying people's like personalities are. That like, But I could definitely see, like, if you're like doing data entry of some kind, like that would probably get mundane and terrible. But like even then with data entry, like you're not really cucking anybody else by like fucking off, so it doesn't super matter. But I'm always fascinated by like how bad some people are at like not being miserable. And like, or it's like humans adapt to uncomfortable shit really fucking fast. Like, if you had both your arms cut off, right now you'd think, I'd be miserable and I want to kill myself. Like a year to having both your arms cut off, you wouldn't give a shit anymore. You just adjust. And
I would say I'd be neutral from the get-go, because bionic arms are just so fucking cool.
True.
The more I look at them.
Yeah, but it's like, how are you gonna fucking jack off, or I don't know what else you would do with your arms.
Oh, they're so good. The new tech they got out there.
Yeah, maybe
You should look it up.
I should, yeah.
Yeah, they're making ChatGPT arms now.
Yeah. I fucking hope that AI keeps being trendy for at least another 2 years, so that like it can enter the consumer market in a cool way, and like I get better video games. That's all I want. I don't care if like, you know, all of Eastern Europe blows up and it turns into a nuclear wasteland and no one can survive there. Don't give a shit. But if I can have like procedurally generated NPCs that make their own dialogue and it feels good, that's worth at least 400,000 Eastern Europeans a month for 20 years.
That is, you know, interesting, because like with its like ChatGPT's current ability to hallucinate, like what kind of I guess if it's procedurally generated, maybe there's not like a concept like an RPG where you're playing through a story and it's more of just like open world random shit. But like if they hallucinate, does that go off of the path of the story that like the devs have created? And like how does that
game will exist in 10 years? 100%. A game like that is like literally just, it's an engine and they let the fucking AI do whatever they want. That's already gonna be a thing. Like, I mean,
I can like imagine like a Skyrim type thing where there's like you put bosses and whatever else, and then you just like make your way through the game, and it like changes over time, and each NPC is different, and like you end up where you end up, like you do in life.
They already made that, by the way. It's already.
I was gonna say this is sounding incredibly familiar.
So they already did a very similar, like it's not similar, but like a proof of concept of this. It was like 14 like artificially generated little creatures. They put them in like, you know, like a fake town, and like their only command was like, there is going to be a Valentine's Day dance on this date. What will you do? And they just walked away, and they like formed themselves into little groups. Everyone, well, not everyone, unfortunately, but most of them got a date. You know, they adjusted their like daily program procedures so it's like, you know, this bot is programmed to go to the store from 5 to 6. You know, this is when he sleeps, this is when he does shit. And they adjusted their calendars to like fit in the Valentine's Day celebration. So it's like we're so fucking close to like that just being a thing. We're like, you know, the idea of like a massively multiplayer game where the AI is learning human behavior, right? That's where it becomes interesting, right? Because a lot of games become boring because you very quickly figure out how the AI operates and you like metagame them, right? So it's like an example would be like, so like in Halo Infinite, there's like this really hard boss who's a melee boss. But what you can do is there's like a little windowsill that's like this, and you just jump from here to here to here to here, and he's just trying to chase you like this, right? Well, when you start incorporating AI, pretty fucking quick machine learning will figure out like, I see what you're doing, retard. I'm just gonna go hide over here and force you to have to fight me because I understand that like to progress you have to kill me. So I'm going to make it a fucking nightmare for you to kill me. And shit like that I find really interesting, where it's like, if you give an NPC like a little town, right? And you link it up and you're like throwing pots and breaking them. Well, if the NPC is like, well, I fucking like those pots, and you become the enemy, and suddenly the next time you come to that fucking town, they're like, no, fuck you. Like, we're going to kill you if you're trying to get our fucking shit because you keep breaking our pots and we love our fucking pots. Like, things like that interest the fuck out of me.
My only question with this concept, because like obviously the concept is very cool and everything, but thinking of like a massively multiplayer game, I think it makes sense. and I'll get to make sense in what perspective. But single player games, I'm wondering, just from like a resource perspective, like computer resource perspective, like if you have this giant Skyrim world,
That's the answer.
Yeah, but like
Anything
if you have millions of people playing it, like yes, you can put it on the cloud, but and each person has their instance, but like is there some like base AI world that then gets kind of like farmed out to each person, or does each person have their own world? Because then that just like you get these like exponential use of resources, and that gets expensive even for like a company, you know, like a major game studio.
In that scenario, your computer's doing all the processing, right? Like you are essentially running their AI for them, right?
Well, I guess my thought is more like you have a town in Skyrim that you don't get to for like 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Is that town existing while you're not interacting with it, and is it building its own story, or not until you interact with it? Does it?
The answer to that is actually all you do is like it's. It's kind of retarded. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I've heard people talk about it, so this is why I know this answer.
We're gonna regurgitate now.
Yeah, we're gonna regurgitate poorly. So that like you can essentially have your scripted AI existing and doing things without rendering the assets, if that makes sense. Where it's like,
it does. Like in text form, it is more.
So it's Dwarf Fortress, where like thousands of processes are happening at once. Yeah. So you're in your town in Skyrim, fucking around doing shit, and then just in the background, like a megabyte of data is enough for like thousands of miles of like very tiny little text-based creatures to like exist, and then as you render them, all that little data like extrapolates into like a bigger piece, right? It's the same way that like chunking works in Minecraft or some shit like that, right? Where it's like you can see like the chunk, right? But like the detail of the chunk isn't always loaded initially, and the closer you get to it, the more that chunk loads. And this is obviously with like Minecraft mods. In base Minecraft, the chunk's just like you literally chunk. Whereas like Optifine and shit, I guess Optifine's dead now. What the fuck I use? Lithium, sodium shit. Like you will see the chunk semi-loaded, but it's like the most bare bones loading of that chunk, where it's like we're just taking the outside blocks of what would be visible, and we're not rendering anything inside. And then as you get closer, we start to render it, and it's just so little computing power is required for that.
Yeah, that makes more sense with like ChatGPT is just like text based, you know, at the end of the day. But so that was kind of my question, more from like the resources perspective. Not that I don't think it can't be solved or anything at some sort of economic.
Who's that? What's that law about the transistors? They double every fucking 5 years.
Moore's law.
Yeah, and how that's like every like 5 years, like, oh, Moore's law's dead, and then it just keeps existing. And like, fuck. Well, I guess, you know, we somehow keep figuring out how to, you know, put more little transistors on here. And yeah, computing power, like it's exponential, right? Like 20 years from now, what we can render will be like unfathomable to like the average person today, right? In the same way that in 2001, if you showed somebody Halo 2 anniversary cutscenes, or like, yeah, your at-home computer renders this, their head would explode. They would die.
I do remember like the World of Warcraft cinematics, and granted that wasn't being rendered in real time on your computer, but like just being like, holy shit, that's like so good. Imagine if your game, you know, could look like that.
And there are tons that do now.
Yeah, that's most games.
Unreal Engine 5 is going to be annoying as fuck and really interesting at the same time. Because, things like Unreal Engine 5 are both great and fucking horrible, right? The good news is you can make beautiful, high-fidelity games very easily. The con, so you can make some dog shit look beautiful and high fidelity very easily.
Yeah.
Like Uncanny Valley sort of thing?
No. So like imagine like a beautiful looking game, right? But the actual foundational systems are flawed as fuck and they're dog shit.
I could take a weekend and crank out a beautiful looking game.
Yeah.
But like none of the systems.
Yeah, and showcase like a.
But it's like written by a third grader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like imagine the Battlefield games, right? They look fucking beautiful, right? Like it wouldn't be hard to replicate that like graphical fidelity with pre-made assets, right?
Yeah.
But then your actual ability to like code AI and make creatures interact in that world is like dog shit, and it's like unplayable monkey shit, monkey fuck. I don't know.
So like it is with human players.
Yes. Dude, the average person, I spend a lot of time almost posting comments on Reddit. I spend probably like 20 minutes a day, like thinking about making a Reddit comment because I'll see something and it will just piss me off because it's so fucking stupid. And it's like, I can't imagine investing tons of time into something and not understanding the system. Like, there are people that spend hundreds of hours playing shooters, and if you let them design or adjust the systems of any shooter, they would immediately kill that shooter and no one would ever fucking play it because it would suck and be dog shit. And it's like, how?
One of my favorite stories of a video gamer who does not know how to play video games or just is like absolutely crazy. May's aunt, who's like a very nice boomer, she leveled 260 in World of Warcraft as a boomkin, only meleeing, and just like took forever. And like while she had her first kid and like she was at home, just like meleeing as a boomkin, leveling to 60. God, I don't like.
Cause she was reading the quest text and filling in the blanks. She just imagined, like, dude, imagine, bro. I remember I hit a fucking like moon kid looking guy. He shot like a star beam, dude. Imagine if I was doing that. That'd be so cool. And instead, I have to punch right now.
Yeah. So I always thought that was a funny story. So
it's a great story.
I mean, it's like one of those things. I feel like for most people who play video games, that would like certainly stretch someone's ability to say like, yeah, play it how you want to play. Like, because like that's kind of at the core is like, play the game however you want to play. If you're having fun, you're having fun. But like that like starts to stretch to the edges of that.
I could not disagree harder.
You're just doing a melee challenge.
I actually like, if you want to fucking play WoW and you melee everything forever, I don't give a fuck. But if you start trying to play with everyone else and are upset when they're like, you're a fucking retard, get the fuck out of here, you melee piece of shit, that's where I draw the line. Like, I play all kinds of like the way that I play like RTS like games, like Total War, Warhammer 3. What I do is I use like cheat codes. I get like a fuck ton of money, and then I just like spend all that money making some other faction my friend, like buying their influence. So then I have like $0 again. And then I just play my little RPG where I'm like, oh, I'm the lizard guys, but the dwarves are my friends. And like, but anyone else playing would be like, this is retarded. You're a fucking moron. It's not how you're supposed to play. But it's like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you how you're supposed to play the game. Because I understand what I'm doing is dumb. But I just like when the little dwarf guys are my friends.
I mean, but like, you're still like using all of the avenues of the game. You're not just like, I feel like this would be like in Total War, you just like build one type of unit because like you only know how to build one type of unit, and then you just like continually run that in a straight line against like any enemy. And
you'd be shocked at how accurate of a description to that is to how I play Total War. My current Total War army is every single unit is the exact same unit, and it's the horse guys. And I just roam around the plains killing skeleton people with the same guys, running in a straight line with my horses. You have verbatim described my gameplay loop.
That's funny.
Well, you don't really play games, according to Aethil.
I mean, obviously, like, I also like do the city building, and that's like a fun part for me, and all that jazz. But no, so I see what you're saying, where it's like someone is like literally not playing the game pretty much. They're like barely experiencing the existence of the game. But even to that, I'm like, that's fine. I don't give a shit. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. But like, it just,
Hi, man.
It's certainly an interesting way. Like you're intentionally playing the game that way versus like unintentionally. I feel like are the two
yeah, it's pretending
aspects.
to be retarded versus being retarded is sort of what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conscious
I mean,
of
but
the
like
restriction.
at the end of the day, like if someone's having fun and passing the time that way, like who cares?
Yeah.
As long as they're having fun.
Like,
it's just certainly interesting because like that would be like I feel like triggering for a lot of people.
well, so here's the problem, Aethil. I'm about to blow your fucking mind, okay? This is a conversation I had with Quotes very recently. You and I, when we approach things in our lives, we do them with a purpose, right? Even if it's to kill time, while we're killing time, generally speaking, we're trying to obtain a skill or become better at something or increase our understanding of something, right? Like when you're playing a game to kill time, right? You're still trying to improve generally, right? There's like, you have some minor, like when you're just spamming Shadow Bolt, right? Like even while you're doing that, you're like, I wonder if I can like, is there a better way I can press Shadow Bolt? Like that thought might enter your brain, right? It's like, I had to read a fucking book on this in high school. Or no, in college? One of my courses. It was like growth mindset versus like dumb retard mindset. I can't remember what it was called. And people just, they're NPCs, bro. I'll just tell you, man. Like, the way that you and I approach, all of us here, approach like things in our lives is so far removed from a large majority of the population that even trying to comprehend how they perceive the world or problems or life is like almost incomprehensible.
I feel like there's got to be some though, like of that person just like isn't doing the thing or hasn't found the thing where they would actually be like interested in doing.
So you're doing this thing that people do where they try and apply their perception of the world. So what you're doing is you're thinking at times in your life where like you sort of hadn't figured something out yet, and you were sort of wasting time while you were doing it because you weren't really learning yet. But in your head, you're imagining that this person has any hope of ever improving. No, this person is literally logging hours in their life until they can go to sleep and wake up again. That's a real thing people do.
Yeah, I mean, like I would be like, how many people do that? Like, not like intentionally, but like just
millions.
That's the only way that they can comprehend how to live.
Millions.
A lot of people.
I think you would be shocked at how many people you would genuinely not consider to be a real human being if you like started sitting down and like talking to people. Like you'd be blown away how many people's like entire like their like 10-year spans of their life where their life is wake up, go to work, drink until they fall asleep, repeat for 10 years. And they don't get any new skills. They don't make any new friends. They just run the program. They just NPC it up. That's it. Like
they run the simulation.
Well, I guess like my other question would be like, because most of us have some event or series of events that kind of help us kind of like move forward, do something new, try something new. Like you get really interested in something, and like
ambition is what
and some of that, well, and it's not necessarily ambition, like some of it is just luck that you just happen to be in a certain place doing a certain thing and you were forced to be there or whatever, and then that like flipped a switch. And so I feel like there's got to be some segment of that of this set of people where like if they get into a situation they can have a switch flipped.
So this is like nature versus nurture.
No, right? So right now, like, I genuinely think, Aethil, that you don't realize how many bots there are in the world. Ambition is a large thing that some people just don't have. Where if you had put someone into your shoes and they experienced all those things, they would still come out NPC because they just don't have the ambition to learn. They don't have a desire to improve in any way, and there's like almost nothing you can do to flip that switch.
But like even for like they, you know, happen to the NPC and then they just like are forced to play a fucking pickleball game for their work, and then they're like, holy shit, I love pickleball, and then like suddenly the switch has been flipped and they're like, I just want to like do pickleball shit.
So
and then they find ambition for pickleball.
Yeah, so again,
I like pickleball.
So what you're not understanding, Aethil, is that person you're working with is already from like your frame of mind. That is a person who has ambition. There are some, so and you know how like there are people that are born and they're like fucking serial killers and they just lack empathy.
Yes.
There are people born without ambition. And they
I mean,
they literally just float from birth to death with like virtually no desire or like no drive to like pursue those desires. Like
I'm saying that like kind of making a distinction, like yes, there's going to be some segment that like will never be motivated and is just like they're going to do what they're going to do, but then there's like some other segment that haven't. They generally have like low ambition, but they haven't like found the thing that flips the switch. So, and again, some may never find it.
Yeah, but so here's the problem with your hypothesis, Aethil. The person that you're describing, 9 out of 10 times, 99 out of 100 times, discovers that thing within the first 20 years of their life, and they find some shit they're interested in. It's very, very, very unlikely. And I'm sure someone that exists, right? But it is incredibly unlikely that you figure out you're really into pickleball and that's the first thing that drives you when you're like 30. By then, you're like, you've already like burned out every like, how do I explain it? So it's like when you're young, right? Your brain's a little computer. It's like a little AI that you're feeding fucking information to, and there's like a reward system, right? And if you don't form that reward system when you're younger, you're not gonna, your fucking brain's done. Your brain stops like. It's why like old people like are set in their ways, right? It's because their brains have literally stopped like developing. They're done. The potato has been cooked, man, and like you fucking forgot to season it before you put it in the oven. There are some people that will just always lack ambition, and there isn't like that thing, and like, oh, he would have really been into cars, man, but he just never got into cars. And again, there are people that exist like that, who it's like the thing they're into, they don't find it until later in life, right?
Yeah.
But that person has ambition already, right? That's in them.
Yeah, it just like hasn't been activated. It's dormant.
Yes. But there are some people that it isn't dormant, right? They're just in the same way that like some people are born with like different emotional ranges, right? Like homie just forgot to like when he was cooking, right? His mother's fucking BIOS didn't squirt fucking ambition into him or like desire to do shit.
Yeah,
Mr.
that does
Firmware.
like just like I don't know. I mean, if the person's like happy,
yeah,
I guess like it's just like so.
Well, they're not happy. So this is
I mean, maybe I don't know. There's like you know you can have people that are just like yeah.
I'm gonna say something, and I want you to agree or disagree with me. Okay? This is my hypothesis. Okay? I think that you are in an income bracket that sort of controls very hard for the kinds of people that Jit or I would meet at our income bracket.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking about that earlier in this conversation, and I was like, yeah, there may be some like self-selection there with the people that I do associate with. So I wouldn't say like I disagree with you there.
Yeah. Like it literally just might be that like you don't hang out with enough poor people, man. Because, like, as much as I'm about fighting the power and helping the poor, a lot of poor people are poor because they suck, dude. Like, you know, and, like, there's a fucking reason they're poor. And there are tons of people that are poor because of bad circumstances. There are a lot of people that are poor because they spawned poor. And I don't mean they spawned like they didn't have any money. I mean, like, they spawned and their genes, like, predisposed them to being poor, right? It's like people talk about homeless vets. And I'm like, is he a homeless vet or is he a homeless guy that enlisted into the military and those 6 years of the military prevented him from being homeless and him being a vet had nothing to do with his homelessness? Like, it isn't that the VA isn't taking care of like the vets and like they do a shit job and all that, but like this was a homeless guy who joined the military as opposed to a military guy who became homeless. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And it's, you know, listen, one day, you know, we'll fly you down to Minnesota and we'll walk you through my neighborhood and you can have a nice little conversation with some people around me. And then you can fly back and you'll be like, fuck, yeah, no, some people just aren't born with ambition, man. They're just NPCs. They just...
If we can take a nice walk around my hometown.
Yeah.
You know, we'll go to the old parks.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just because the government in Canada pays for everything for them.
True,
so,
true.
Of course.
Goddamn lazy liberals.
We're all commies up here.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, I had some of it definitely more earlier in life. Like, you know, going through middle school, high school.
Yeah, but, like... So you see, a lot of those people that are in middle school and high school, right? They're still in that bracket of, like, they haven't found their thing yet, right? And there's a chance they turn it around. Jit and I are dealing with level 35 people that sort of, they've run out of talent points, right? They've used all the talent points, and there's nothing left. And now they're going to keep leveling up, but they don't get talent points. It's over. Like, the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their character progression.
Yeah. It's... You know, I don't mean to sound elitist, but some poor people just suck, man. Like, some people fucking deserve to be poor. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I mean, there's, like, there's aspects of, like, hard work, luck, risk, like, all of those sorts of things that all play into, like, someone's outcome. And there's shitty people that are poor, shitty people that are middle class, shitty people that are rich, and, like, the reverse.
I will say this. Work ethic is like a very strong gene, and if you can get like work ethic combined with like a very slightly I guess above average understanding of systems, you can pull your you can bootstraps your way pretty fucking far into the progression system of like if you like are poor as shit but you find a YouTube video talking about leveraging debt and like software engineering jobs, there's a universe where you like can unpoor yourself pretty easily, but it just requires you to like remove large sections of your life and invest it heavily into shit that isn't fun and like removes any sort of like development of your social life or any of that shit. And it's like you don't like that shouldn't be a path you have to take, but like that is a way that like the reason I'm not a billionaire right now is just because I'm a lazy retard. Like that's a big fucking part of it. Like, if I wasn't a lazy dumbass, I would have just immediately gone into, like, a tech job and, like, gotten a degree in that. But I didn't want to do that because that sounds lame as fuck.
When you say billionaire, are you talking literal billionaire or just, like, have lots of money?
I have, like, high $100,000 a year income. Not, like, I'm not saying the different, like, the reason I'm not Jeff Bezos is because I want
I was like...
No. Yeah. So just to clarify, I'm being hyperbolic. When I say billionaire, I shouldn't say obviously. What I mean is like a good income of like $100,000 to like $150,000 a year is like an obtainable goal for most people who are willing to leverage a lot of risk. And it's not 100%.
It doesn't work out for some people.
Like there's a reason it's called leveraging risk. All right. The risk part can sometimes fuck you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the older I get, the more I think that just like luck or not having risk realized which is basically just luck, are the biggest factors on
I used to be
like whether you're successful or not.
I used to have an exact same mindset when I was working in like a higher paying job bracket with a lot of higher paying people and like interacting with them and their kids, people around them. And now that I'm like not there and I'm sort of hanging out with the poors more, I've shifted my view to like, oh no, some people just suck. And
as the person who has worked with the most poors here, no, some people just suck. When I start at like, because I've worked a lot of shitty like retail jobs, when I go in and I see like 40-year-olds who are like, no, this is it. This is like life's good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, so for example, right? Like, so I'm working part-time right now, and I'm very comfortable but I'm not comfortable enough that like I've stopped the grind. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still actively pursuing other avenues of like, you know, not employment, because I actually kind of like my job, but like other avenues of income and like building skills and shit like that, where it's like, you know, every waking second of my day isn't spent like, you know, I'm grinding on that YouTube grind, dog. Like some days are like, I want to learn about some more woodworking shit. I want to go figure some shit out. You know, oh, I'm interested in this sci-fi concept. I'll go learn a bit about it today, right? And those days sort of go into the like the negative category of like I'm sort of inting my potential, but like I'm still learning shit, and like it's a growth mindset, right? You're trying to grow as a person, even if that growth doesn't necessarily drive you towards like something tangible and useful. But there are a lot of people who aren't like, oh yeah, I wasted a lot of those days like fucking reading Warcraft lore. They're like, you know, I just drank all day and fell asleep. I did not do anything.
Yeah. Like, even, I wouldn't even put that as inting, because no matter what, you'll get transferable skills out of, like, anything you learn.
Well, you're not even wrong, because, like, I spent a lot of today, like reading about Halo ODST and, like, Halo and, like, biblical references in Halo and, like Christ allegories and shit like that. And it's fun and engaging, and, like, now, like, my knowledge of, like, Christianity has increased. And that's a skill that you can actually use with other people that are, like, if you run into a guy who's, like, really into Christianity and you can bullshit him to think that you're also into Christianity because you really love fucking Halo, like that's a skill, I guess. But yeah, you know, like Aethil, like you are aware that there are people that like just drink and then go to sleep, and that's like their routine forever until they die.
Yes, I mean they're called alcoholics.
No, I'm not talking about alcoholics. I'm talking like he drinks 2 beers, gets a nice buzz, and then he watches TV all day and then goes to sleep.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like just drinks until they go to bed.
No.
Drinks a 40 every night and then goes to bed.
What I'm talking about is like
zombie mode.
They just like have a drink and watch Netflix, and they've watched like every show on Netflix.
Buddy.
Or you're just talking like
you're
cable
too
TV.
Highbrow. You're too highbrow. The fact that you said Netflix, you've already like excluded like 34% of the people I'm talking about.
I was talking about like Netflix in the more generic sense that just like put something on.
So
like
do you know what Young Sheldon is?
Oh yeah, I've seen ads for that.
So keep in mind, that is one of the most enjoyed television shows in America.
It is pretty insane, the fucking shows that they have. Like when I go and watch a college football game and I have to watch the ads from YouTube TV, and I'm like, these are shows that they have on cable television and people watch them and they're still funded.
No, Aethil. These aren't shows that are on cable television. These are shows that make hundreds of millions of dollars from advertisements because so many fucking people watch them. Okay? That dumb shitty show that you're like, how the fuck can someone watch this? They're on their 9th season, and that's a spin-off
like soap
show.
opera.
Yeah, soap operas, exactly.
Yes,
my grandma, my grandma's illiterate. Okay, I love my grandma. She's one of my favorite people. My grandma's fucking illiterate. She loves soap operas. They're her favorite thing because she can understand them.
Is she actually illiterate,
or
like
illiterate.
functionally illiterate?
My grandma, I mean, she's not gonna get fucking lost like walking around. She knows
like she can read a stop sign, sort of thing.
Yeah, she can read a stop sign, but if you were to hand her like instructions on how to like take her medication, she fucking wouldn't know how to read those. If you sent her too long of a text message, she wouldn't know. But if you're like, go right, you take right now. She go, oh,
yeah.
If you gave her a book to read, she couldn't read it.
Like she could read all the words in it, but like there's no comprehension.
Yes. She could identify every letter, but she could not comprehend the sentences.
Yeah.
There's no like understanding.
I was like reading. Isn't there's like some tens of percentage of America is like functionally illiterate. 64%, like that.
By the way,
is it 60%?
64% has the 6th grade reading level.
Yeah, which is like that
insane.
Functional illiteracy
is insane.
Well, that's a perfect stat to put the number of like NPCs into like perspective. Yeah. If 64% are functionally illiterate.
But then that like gets back to the question of like, is that their fault? Well, multiple things. Is that their fault because they didn't realize opportunities, or like that's the way they were born, or like the system fucked them?
It's probably like 30-70, where like 70% didn't get good opportunities. 30% of them you can get every opportunity in the world, and they're gonna watch Young Sheldon every day until they die.
Yeah, I would agree
Sorry,
with that.
54%, not 64, my bad, of adults have a literacy below 6th grade level.
That's insane.
Yeah. Fucking insane, man. Just like, yeah, so like, I'm trying to fly in the day earlier on my birthday, and I want to sit down with my grandparents and interview them for like 3 hours and just ask them like all kinds of questions, just so I have like a really cool record of like, so I can look back and remember my grandma and shit. 'Cause I always think back, like I love watching old documentaries where you talk to old people and like see how they viewed the world and like how they process shit. I find it so fucking interesting. And my grandma's very funny.
She's probably like, you know, was 2030s and like 60s, 70s.
What the fuck did you what the fuck did you just say? I don't what no
Aethil just wrapped off some numbers.
I'm gonna repeat, Aethil. You just said what? She was probably what, 20s, 30s, 60s, 70s? What the fuck does that even mean? What did you just say?
Oh, sorry. I was saying, I was trying to put to context, like when talking about her life experience, like, you know, how you're formed is, you know, in your 20s and 30s, what decade were you in? So I was like, probably 60s, 70s.
Yes. She was born, my grandpa was born 34, I believe. And my grandma was born like early 40s, like 42, 43. So yeah, she grew up in like the 60s, 70s. My grandpa, a devout racist. He talks about he like, dude, it's so like, it's not funny, it's fucked up, but it's funny how fucked up it is, where it's like,
where all you can do is laugh.
Yeah,
like,
because he's like explaining, he's like, because like one of my cousins, she ended up having a black boyfriend, and my fucking grandpa wouldn't shake his hand, and it was so embarrassing. And he was like trying to explain, he's like, you don't understand, when I grew up, we had colors around, and I'm like, oh no, he's already off the wagon.
Yeah, I get that like TV's changed over from black and white to
exactly. And he's like, listen, there was no whites only sign on the store, but it was understood you don't come there. And it was just like, what the fuck, man? Like, insanity.
What are you saying?
And it's like, he was in the military, like he served and shit. He was in the Army Corps of Engineers in fucking Korea. You know, he blew up a bridge once. Talked about shooting Asian people.
Based.
Dude, I think I told this on the podcast before, but it's like so fucking funny how fucked up it is. It's my great grandpa. They talked about how they went to Red Lobster and they had an Asian server, and my grandpa was like, I will not let you serve me. I want a new waiter. And they got kicked out, right?
Yeah.
My dad tells the story like my grandpa is the victim. And they kicked a war hero out. And I'm like, this fucking racist. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember as a kid, right? Like fucking 7 or 8, being like, I can't believe they treat a veteran like that. That's fucked up. And like getting older and being like, no, dude, fuck grandpa. Like, you don't get to eat a Red Lobster, dickhead. So
I feel like that's something like the Iraq War or something. When it was like happening, you're like, yeah, of course. And now like 20 years later, you're like, it didn't even have anything to do with 9/11. Like, why the fuck did we go there 2 years later? Like,
yeah, just you gotta protect Kuwait, man. They're fucking nice little guys.
He wasn't even in Kuwait that time.
I don't remember who invaded Kuwait. Was it Iraq or Iran that invaded Kuwait?
It was Iraq that invaded Kuwait in the Gulf War in '91.
Like the 90s, yeah. I mean, we were just getting payback for Kuwait. Fucking 10 years later.
Tried to kill my father.
Yeah, that's a big one too. Is like it's like having read a lot of history and shit like that. Like I remember my teachers were always like, "Oh, you don't have to remember the dates for the test." I remember thinking, "Fuck yeah," as a kid, and now as an adult, I'm like, you have fucked. The most important part of the history things is like the dates, because like it gives you the greater context of everything that's happening in the world at that fucking time. Like, hey, do you know that during the Civil War, Prussia was a fucking thing? Like, you know,
the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, like people don't think about that shit. Where it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, the unification of Germany is 1871, and you're like, wait a minute. 1864 was the Civil War. Germany wasn't a unified fucking country yet? Like, what? Yeah, just shit like that, where it's like, huh.
Especially like from World War One perspective, there are like a lot of countries that participated in World War One that do not exist anymore.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I remember as a kid being like, yeah, America is such a new country. It was, 1776. That's so new. The rest of these countries have to have been thousands of years. Germany is 1871. Wait, what? Wait, that's 100. Wait, when the fuck did Germany exist? And then you find out that, like, the concept of Germany, like, there are all kinds of Germanic states, and they all, like, existed and had their own leadership and did different shit. Like, blows my mind. It's like, when you think of, like, European countries, oh, they've been around for so much longer, then it's like, no, what the fuck do you think Grenada is? Like, that's not like a since the beginning of time thing, man. Like, Bosnia or something, like, no, that's new shit, man. That's, like, brand new patch.
New patch, yeah.
Yeah, like, so much shit. Or, like, even Desert Storm, right? Like, it's like 91, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting because you're like, yeah, there used to be lots of countries back then, but now we've got a stable world and nothing will change, and these are the countries that we'll have forever.
Yep.
And, like, how I feel like that's such a common, like, that immediately your mind goes there that the world isn't going to change. Like, the countries are going to be what they're going to be, like, as they currently are. And it's like, that can't be the case because it's never been the case.
Yeah. Like, even like Rwanda and shit, right? Like, that's like a pretty recent fucking thing that happened. Like, I guess not super recent because it's like the fucking 90s or whatever. But like,
it was only, 10 years ago, 90s.
Yeah, dude, whenever I think of 2016, I'm like, bro, that was like 3 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it from that, your mind, like, does these, like, jumps in time but it's always, like, thinking it's some amount of time in the past. Like, back in 2015, your mind was still like, man, it still feels like 2009. And then, like, now you're like, it still feels like 2016.
Well, there's a reason for that, right? Think about it. So when you're 9, right? You're 9 years old, and you have summer vacation, and it feels like it lasts forever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's because it's like literally a ninth of your lived experience is that fucking summer, right? And it's like, because you can't even count like 5 years old, because like, what the fuck I remember from then? So it's like, literally like a quarter of your life that you've experienced and can remember is that summer vacation. That's why summer felt so much longer. And then you get older, and it's like, oh yeah, like 5 years is not half my life anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's just shit like that, where it's like the reason it feels like time flies when you get older is because it's like you're doubling your lived experience. Yeah, because you're having fun. That's a great way to think about it, Aethil. Just go ahead and give a round of applause for Andrew. What a great way to think. I fucking hate people like that.
You need the soundboard for this.
I don't know how to. I hate people that talk like that. Though.
Oh, I do agree. There's nothing that makes me when you like walk through work, and I don't even participate in these conversations, but you just overhear like two people passing each other in the hall, and they're like having fun, living the dream. I think both of those people should be executed on the spot.
Yes! I am both of those people every day at work. I walk by people on purpose saying,
but they say it unironically.
Well, yeah, but no, so I said they have like it's like the NPC speak where it's like, hey, how are the kids treating you? And it's like, this isn't a real, like, go fuck yourself. This is not real. This is like what a computer thinks humans talk about. You dumb asshole. Go fuck yourself. Eat a bag of dicks.
I don't want to talk unless we're gonna like talk about something.
Yeah.
I'm very
walking
smart.
around, and I used to be an adventurer like you.
Yeah. So I took an arrow to the knee. Yeah. So there's like the tech guy that walks around our area, and he used to just like walk around like, how's your day to everyone? But he and I like relate on all kinds of shit, and so now he like beelines to me. We have like actual real conversations, and everyone tries to hit him with that bullshit. And he just like deflects it now. We're like, so how's the brother? And he's like, yeah, he's fine, man. Anyway, so I was last week the race on iRacing was what I did. Yeah, so I told you about this, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, man. What
he was
car
racing
did you drive?
Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I like water cooler talk. Like, people used to be like, "Oh, I hate small talk," and I'd always be like, "How the fuck can you hate small talk? It's not that bad." But I realize now that I've just never had small talk. I just have interesting conversations most of the time, and small talk is when an NPC approaches you and starts a dialogue tree that you're trying to skip through.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, they talk about the weather. It's like, I've never once talked about the weather unless it was like relevant and interesting. Like something novel was happening. Like, holy fuck, man. She just like, the haze comes from Canada. And they're like, yeah, can you fucking believe that these retards are lighting their shit on fire? I'm like, yeah, dude. Aren't Canadians fucking dumb? They're like, yeah, fuck Canadians. I'm like, yeah, that was a good conversation. I like that.
Yeah, it was mentally stimulating conversations. Good job.
I think that's like stuff like the weather or just like generic things that aren't new or like repeat. Like, I don't want to talk about those with coworkers and like act like they're new and novel and like can't believe the rain we've been having, like sort of thing. And it's just like, I don't want to talk about that, but it, like, if you want to talk about like something different, interesting, I don't know, like,
I felt
maybe
so bad. Some person at my work said, oh, we sure could use some rain. And I don't know what possessed me to do this. I was just like, what do you mean? Like, how do you know that? Like, people, like, you said it like 4 times. I felt bad. I didn't like berate him, but I was just like, you said that. I was like, how do you know we need, like, help me understand. What identifiers are you seeing that lead us to, he's like, well, you know, it's just been a while since it rained last. I was like, how do you know? Like, what? Well, then when was the last time it rained? Like, help me. Like, I'm trying to empathize with you. Help me understand why the fuck you think we need rain. Because I want to learn. Because, like, I feel like people always say we need rain, and they're probably right. And I want to know why we need rain. Help me understand. And he just had no idea why he was saying we need rain.
That's funny because, like, that's a pretty common thing in Colorado, especially this year. Just because, like, we're in the West, it's more arid, so Colorado's been in like a drought for years, and then like we've gotten so much moisture this year that I think we're already at least in Denver, the max amount of moisture that we've ever gotten in a year, and we're in July. And so like very cool, buddy. And so like I feel like people, you know, say it all the time, just like, we could use the rain here. And like most of the time it is true because the state has just been in like perpetual drought. And so like, I guess that's like the marker is like, well, we're in drought. So like, of course we need it.
At any point I could say this and I'd be, I want to grab someone by the fucking collar and be like, what do you mean? Why do we need rain? Help me understand. Tell me why. Why are you saying this? Why do you know something I don't know? Like, is there a marker somewhere? Do we get an email? Did I not get the email? Is there a website we check to know how much rain we need? Like, fucking tell me.
I feel like at the base level, all of these things are just like in-group versus out-group statements. And
I don't know what that means. Help me understand. What is in-group versus, I don't know what in-group and out-group is.
Like, the group says, the culture says, you do this, you do that, and like now you're part of the in-group. There's just like the phrases that society or like a set of culture, like in a town, a state, a city, that like you just say, you know, people say this thing, and you know, they talk about this or they talk about that, and like that's how you signal that you're part of the in-group.
Okay. Yeah, I've always been part of the out group when I form my own in group because I'm too retarded to keep track of that shit, man. I'm just too stupid. Sorry.
I mean, for most people, I don't think like they even keep track of it. It's just like they've been there and they pick it up, and then it's just subconscious, and that's what they do. But it's kind of like a self-reinforcing behavior.
That's probably why I think I like can make friends so quickly, or like get people to like warm up to me really quick, because I just skip the NPC dialogue. Like, I immediately will act like retarded to somebody, and they're like, oh fuck, he has a personality. It's like, no, everyone else also has one. It just takes them 46 hours to like display. You had like 46 in-game flight hours with this person before like they administer one personality trait. And you can just have a conversation with me for like 8 minutes, and you'll have like 4 personality traits. You're like, oh cool, okay, this is a real developed NPC. They did a really good job on this one. You know?
I'm like the opposite. That when someone first meets me, I'm definitely much more. If you can guess this, if you're surprised by this,
Introverted.
like more introverted and like obviously I don't talk as much and et cetera, et cetera. But like, it's not necessarily because I don't like talking, but I'm trying to gauge their like reference frame so that I know like how they view the world and what things I should say and shouldn't say
I'm 100.
because
I'm just like you then. Yeah.
because like I I have no problem like just going up to someone and having a conversation, but like if I actually want to do that. But like when I first meet someone, like I am more awkward just because like, well, here I would usually say this joke, but this
Yeah.
segment of people might not like that, so I'm not gonna say it.
I'm actually just like you. Like, but my first like week anywhere, like I'm incredibly reserved and I don't like do shit. But I pretty quickly figure out like if my humor is allowed, and I start like I slowly amp it up. Tell me this is like okay 4.2. That's where I need to be with this. Okay, you got
Feel
it.
it out.
Yeah.
I think where we diverge is like I decide at some point like whether I care about like being funny to these people or having a conversation with them, and like it's kind of bad, but like especially at work it's kind of like, is this going to be someone who's going to
Tattle on you?
like have an input on my performance review? Yes, no, like no, maybe I don't like care about really having a conversation with them.
Yeah.
But so I feel like that's where we diverged,
I
that like
see.
you want to go and have the conversations and I'm just like trying to like pick and choose.
You're out there processing like, okay,
Aethil's min-maxing.
yeah, there's a 48.6% chance that this person will have a positive thing on my performance review. He'll probably write, okay, I'll interact with him a little more than Tim, who will not be. Okay.
I mean, it's not incorrect. Like, just because, like, I'm like, well, if I have this conversation with this person, then, like, I can't think about the things that I want to think about. I have to, like, think about this conversation and be in it.
Yeah. Now, to clarify, we're actually 100% the same, because if I was at a position like yours, I'd probably be actually more insane than you, and I would be metagaming it way harder. It would become a game to me of like, how much rep can I farm with these people, and like, how stellar performance review can I get? You know, shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely are obviously much more outgoing than me, so
that's what we're looking for, actually.
well,
Okay.
that too.
Use the right terminology, please.
But yeah, so you would definitely be much more normal than I'm probably perceived.
Yeah, maybe. I just like I'm trying.
I like the idea that
I'm
Aethil
somehow
goes around.
Oh, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, goes around just saying that he's not acting normally. He's just like beelining to certain NPCs and then like
he's just
returning.
mashing the buttons like, hey, okay, options, okay, and he walks away. The fact that you could ever say this sentence, that I would be perceived as more normally than you, is like a catch-22 of like, normally I think of you as a smart, intelligent person, but what you just said is the most fucking retarded thing. There is no universe that anyone ever comes away with any interaction with the two of us for any amount of time and goes, Dylan is the normal one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel like you have the ability that you could turn it on or off if you deem it necessary in the situation, and that's what I'm saying. That like in a place where like you have a performance review,
bearded retard. So there's normal is never an option for me. It is impossible for someone to come. They will invent tales about me because I am tall and have a beard.
Yeah,
like that's just a thing that happens. Like people's preconceived notions of me are already loaded of the outside of normal because of how I look. That like it's really hard to. It's why I have to like lean into being so like autistic, because it's just like if I tried to act like you, people would think that I was a fucking freak. Because they'd be like, why is this mongoloid monster acting this way? Whereas, like, if you act that way, they're like, oh, this is a normal guy. It's just a normal fella.
I mean, they're probably just like, why is, weird military engineer guy, so like it's not surprising that he's like quiet.
Think that is if you're walking around fucking salute. Why do people think that you're a military guy? Do you walk around with your Purple Heart fucking pinned to your
like just generically, people know that like I used to be in the military, so
I like to imagine like they're going to leave your desk and you're like, did you want to thank me for my service or
no, just like in my segment of work, like people are more familiar with people who have been or are in the military and they encounter them often. So
you
like
up in your dress blues, man, don't fucking lie to me.
No, I didn't, because I was out of the military. But they so they interact with people of that kind of segment of society enough that they form what they think that kind of person is going to be like.
That is true. Yeah, for a lot of I don't want to say dumber, but for
less intelligent,
some people will hear military service and immediately apply 1,000 good characteristics to you, despite the fact that obviously you were an officer, so you're immediately more valuable than all of us. But most people who were in the military were, E4s and are no different than a crackhead. And you were in the military. We gotta get this guy in who's in the military. He understands structure. It's like, no. What he understands is how to almost look like he's doing his job while he's consumed far too much alcohol.
Yeah. I feel like after being in the military, I'm just like, people are people, whether they're in the military or not. Like, there's literally no difference from the normal segment of the population and how they act, and like how the military segment of the population
because the military is full of normal fucking people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing that most people don't get. They're like, somehow this segment of society is different, like set apart, and it's like, no, it's just people.
I like to imagine that, like, the first time you meet somebody, you're just like, Chief Petty Officer of fucking Aethil, reporting for duty, sir. And you're like,
I was actually like the opposite, because like as an officer, I'm supposed to be saluted and stuff, and sometimes like enlisted people wouldn't, and like I never cared or like corrected people like, hey, you're supposed to salute me, but like I knew plenty of people that would do that. Like officers that would do that. I like that you're
saying this, because I'm imagining like putting in the effort to hunt down people you serve with, and all of them be like, dude, he would freak the fuck out if you didn't salute him.
There are definitely 100% like second lieutenant, first lieutenants that like would do that to some staff sergeant, or like tech sergeant that has been in for like 12, 13 years. Like, yes, it's against the rules, but like at the same time, like, who really cares?
So here's the problem. If you give a shit about your military career, you kind of have to be that guy, because like this is just like from reading like journals and shit from the higher ups. They love to huff their own farts, and like that's a real thing of like, if you do not like administer your authority regularly, like higher ups will notice that shit and you will get in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably more common in like the Army or the Marine Corps, the Navy, where like if you don't follow the rules, you don't follow officers, or like not necessarily officers, but just like whoever's in charge, then like people will die. Like I was in the Air Force, like we work desks. No one's gonna die.
The stapler might not get refilled fast enough if you brave crank.
It's all digital. Who uses a stapler?
That actually surprises me. This all digital. I'm surprised that the U.S. government isn't like a stickler for like, we need this in writing. We need a fucking paper copy of this.
I need stamped.
I mean, it depends on like what it would be, but like just generically, like the goal is to like maximize work efficiency, and printing every fucking thing out doesn't maximize efficiency.
That's good. That gives me faith in the military, that they're not printing shit out all the time.
Well, I mean, the Air Force wasn't in the places that I worked, but.
Oh, so I watched an Instagram reel that like the people were like, can you believe this guy did this? And it's this guy telling a story. He's like, yeah, so I was in like the CIA like prep school or whatever, and we had a rule for there was no underage drinking in the dorms. And I get back into my dorm, and my dorm mate, who's 19, is drinking with some buddies. And so I tell on him. And everyone's like, can you fucking believe this narc? And I'm like, no. Wrong. That guy is a genius because do you know what happens if you don't tattle on him and you get caught? You're also fucked. Like,
Yeah.
fuck the retard who is drinking. Like, that guy's the idiot in the story. Everyone's like, I can't believe you narked on him, bro. What an idiot. And I'm like, no, a guy underage drinking in the military academy for like officers and shit is the fucking retard. Like, and if you can't grasp that, like, that's good because you're dumb and you should never be in charge of anything.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, just like something like that. It's like you're only there for a set of time. Like, can you really not like control yourself? And like, if you can't control yourself and you have to like have a drink in the dorms.
And to clarify, so it's like the punishment for drinking in the dorm is immediately being kicked out of the school, right? Like,
yeah,
if he was like, if he didn't have his like fucking sheets done, and the punishment for that is like some minor offense, obviously don't tattle on him. But if it's like a thing that's also gonna get you kicked out of the fucking school, like, no shit, you fucking tattle on him. Like, you fucking retarded? Like,
yeah.
Don't put somebody in a situation where they either have to fuck themselves or fuck you, because they're gonna fuck you every time. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they're already like skimping on the rules there, then like when push comes to shove, like, are they, gonna give you like the benefit of the doubt or like, no?
The only exception is like if I get back there and Jit is like underage drinking, I'm gonna be like, Jit, what the fuck? Like, you need to like, if you are not out of here with that shit in the next 5 minutes, I'm fucking ratting on you, because like, we're not getting kicked out because you're a retard, man. Like. But yeah, if it's like some guy that I barely know, like, yeah, fuck that guy. Like, he can't follow. Like, I don't want that guy in any sort of leadership position. He can't follow the most basic fucking rules. Like, rules oftentimes like are just a test of like, can you be trusted with any level of authority? And it's like, if you immediately start bending the rules, the answer is fucking no. You shouldn't be in charge of your shit,
like,
man.
Can you have like basic control of yourself?
Yes, it's like, is the rule stupid and has no purpose? Like, sometimes you just follow it because like it is there as a litmus test of, are you capable of the most basic self-control regardless of how stupid a fucking rule is? And it's like, once you've been there long enough and you can operate with discretion, sure, but week 1, don't apply discretion to the fucking rules. Just follow them, man. Like, yeah. But then you say that and people are like, wow, what a bot take, man. It's like, no, this is just like the I don't want to get fired take.
Oh, there's telling the NPC.
I mean,
again.
it is one of those things like where you have those opportunities in your life or situations in your life where it goes like one way or the other, where there's a very like black and white, cut and dry consequence to something, and like you don't do it or you do it, and like then there's like a big divergence in the paths there.
People are wild, man. I'm shocked whenever I hear about like the things that people do. Like, to go back to the sub people, it blows my, like, everyone is like, yeah, the sub guy did this because he was just trying to cut corners. He didn't care about safety. It's like, no. He did it because he was retarded and thought it was safe enough. Like, this wasn't a CEO like cutting the bottom line. Like, if there was like,
he was a true believer.
Yeah, if the carbon fiber thing was like $38 cheaper than the titanium thing, he probably still would have gone the carbon fiber because he believed in it and he wanted to prove people wrong because he believed in it.
Yeah, this is just me making this up based on one thing that I read, that like he wanted to be like the SpaceX of like ocean exploration.
Confirmation of this.
And so like my take on that is, he just like looked at SpaceX from a distance and was like, well, they like move fast and break things and like nothing's ever like fucked up for them. So like that means they probably like chose the cheapest stuff. They're the cheapest way to launch stuff into space. So like, we can go cheap and like obviously it'll work out because like it worked out for them. But like that's not why they succeeded. And so like,
even if it was why they succeeded, a monkey could go to space. It is a fucking million times harder to go deep into the ocean than it is to fly into space.
I mean, they're both like equally very difficult,
Not even close. We were figuring out space travel in like the 60s, dude. And like, do you know how many atmospheres of pressure your fucking aircraft has to be able to sustain?
Well, yeah, I mean, I
0 to
understand
1.
that, like, from that perspective, but like, my take on like why did we go to space earlier? Because there's like more of a benefit that we could see in
There's
going to space versus like going down deep in
to
the ocean.
clarify, like I couldn't make a fucking rocket go to space, but I'm saying like in the scales of hardness, like going to the bottom of the ocean is like a level 7 difficulty, and going to space is like a level 4 or 5 difficulty. They're still like incredibly complex, and like obviously rocket scientists are smart people, you know, but like it's way easier to go to space than it is to go under the fucking water, because there's just so much less shit that can go wrong going to space. There's a lot of water, and it's fucking heavy, man.
I mean, either way, like something goes wrong and you're dead. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's like different than, I would say, like if you're in like a Navy submarine and an airliner. Like if you're in a Navy submarine, you're still definitely fucking dead. Like if something goes wrong in an airliner, you actually can probably still be fine because the plane can fly fine on its own with no engines.
Yeah, so to pilot the airliner, like way less more people fly airplanes than submarines. And if there were an equal amount of submarines and airplanes, there would be more people capable of flying airplanes than safely piloting a submarine. Because airplanes are like, it's the landing and part that's like really tough, man.
Yeah, but if you just put a controller on the submarine.
That's true, man. You play Xbox.
Yeah. You play Xbox.
Logitech.
Do you guys ever like read airplane like flight issues and like when shit like how like when like you ever read about like plane crashes and figure out why they happened? It is fucking disturbing how many of them are like, yeah, so someone was like, we should really check this, and he's like, nah, it's fucking fine, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's mind-boggling. I love reading like black boxes and shit like that, and like hearing people's moments right before they die, and like figuring out what caused it. And it is unbelievable how many last-minute things where people are like, I'm gonna be honest, Tony, it's kind of fucking retarded. I didn't believe you. Boom.
Yeah, but like I don't look that like up for, you know, flying domestic, but if I was gonna fly international on some like random ass airline, I would actually be like, okay, this airline, what's their safety record? Like, should I pick a different ticket?
So for the record, I'm not like buying an airplane ticket and going, I'm gonna look at all their flights that have crashed. I'm like bored at work and I'm like, airplane crashes, Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Middle mouse
So
button.
year by year.
Yeah. Seriously, like, dude, co-pilot has to be the worst job. The amount of co-pilots that have died while vindicated, too high.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
The amount of times you're like, boss, I think another plane's taking off. I don't think they said us. And the pilot's like, shut up, bitch. You know how long I'm flying this fucking plane? And he's like, probably not for very long, because that plane's coming towards us.
Yeah.
Yeah, co-pilot.
That is, like, one of the biggest things, like, when you think about, like, how would I react in a certain situation? Like, because, like, crisis situations like that don't happen very often, maybe, like, a couple times in a person's life, if any. Like, the default response, I feel like, in most situations is just going to be like, well, this is probably just another normal situation. Like, regular rules of engagement apply. So, like, you have to fight that urge to, like, defer to the pilot, defer to, like, this or that, because, like,
I would recommend reading some black box conversations, because, like, it is literally just like the co-pilot is timid more often than not, where it's like, hey boss, you know, don't you think that we should probably not fly with the left engine full of ice? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. He's like, do you want to look at it first? He's like, nah. Like, there's me. I'd be like, we're not flying this fucking plane to look at it. Like, I need you to at least see it and look me in the eyes and say we're gonna be okay. Like, there's there's just no universe where I'm like, dude, I think they said a different plane number to take off right now. He's like, yeah, it's probably yes. I'm like, no, we're gonna radio right now. I'm gonna pick, like, fuck you. I'm like, we're gonna, like, fire me. Like, we're not playing this game, dumb asshole. You'd be
Well, and I
shocked at
think
how
that's
much-
like, yeah, I mean, that's where like the training is so important to be like,
yeah.
positive confirmation for both people, like in all situations, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That like counteracts that, like, well, he is the captain, he's flown for 30 years, so like maybe I did miss here. And then like 5 seconds later,
You're
20
fucking
seconds
T-boned
later,
by a
like,
plane, man.
yeah.
You're like, oh fuck, I guess I probably should have not been a retard. Well, so here's the crazy part. A lot of these mistakes are not split-second mistakes. Like, I've read a lot of black box shit, and there are some where it's like, oh, the hydraulic goes out, and you got to make a split-second decision. Oh, they made the wrong one, right? There are a lot that are like, yeah, 15 minutes before the flight, he said, I think there's gas leaking out of this. Should we check that? And I was like, yeah, fucking cares, man. And then like he asked 4 times. And I was like, shut up, man, you're pussy. It's like, yeah, there's no universe that I'm like, dude, you need to look at this first. Like, you can call me retarded, but I want you to look at it first, man.
Yeah.
Give me that benefit of the doubt. Co-pilot to pilot, just at least look at it. Because I feel like there are a fuck ton of black box conversations that are like, oh, Frank, no, yeah, fuck, man, thank God, dude. Because, yeah, we would have exploded. Yeah, we'd been fucked, man. There was no way we survived this takeoff. That was good call, man. Oh, fucking, what would I do without you? But, they don't release those, recordings because those ones don't matter.
Yeah, because they get overwritten because the plane didn't crash.
Hell yeah. Oh, yeah, it's
An
just...
active log of all communication.
Or like air traffic controller, right? In my head, right? You gotta go to there's like years of training to be an air traffic controller. Now, it's like, yeah, 2 months, you're good. Fuck it, just don't make sure. Like, what? Like,
it's one of those like apprentice and master things that like, yeah, you only have 2 months, but we're gonna send you to a control tower where there's like 3 people that have been that have been doing it for 20, 30 years, and if you fuck up, they're gonna be like, nope.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how few collisions there are because an air traffic controller fucked up, which blows my mind because they get paid like $11 an hour. Like, it blows my mind that these people who are not like incredibly well trained are not making constant mistakes, whereas like the pilot who's been flying for 500,000 hours is just like, yeah, we're gonna risk it all. Fuck it, man. It's like, what?
Are you talking like stuff in like around airports, or just like generically like flying across the country or something?
Just generally around airports, because like it's really hard for an air traffic controller to sort of guide you when you're like 4,000 miles away from the nearest tower. But I mean, like, just
they have like lower frequencies, and you can still talk to stuff when you're flying over the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh, based.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wouldn't think that, because a fucking ham radio can talk to fucking people like Australia.
No,
or like a Viasat or something.
Yeah.
Like that would be like over the ocean.
But it's like, are there air traffic controllers specifically set for like to track over your ocean shit? Like, is there a dude who's like just looking at this quadrant and like, oh, the Kilo 49er, you're gonna fucking T-bone, Zulu 16 if you don't turn right. Just heading.
I don't exactly know there. Like, there's definitely people that are monitoring it from like a higher level, like just going across the country. But there's lots of like rules and everything on, if you're going this direction, you fly in altitude that's, ends in zeros, and if you're going the other direction, you're at increments of 500. So like there's no way if you follow those rules that like you should be automatically deconflicted.
It is crazy like how simple a lot of the problem solving is, right? Like when you're, oh man, how do all these planes, like, just if you're going
put them on top of each other.
Yeah, like you can fly in 3D space, you fucking retards. Like, just be 500 feet above him, man. There's no fucking way you hit him. Like, you've got 500 feet of fuck around space.
Yeah, and I mean, most of these things too, like, regulations are written in blood, processes are written in blood, sort of thing, that like you try and make the process ahead of time, but then they get refined by accidents happening.
Turns out 250, a lot more wiggle room than you'd think. Those guys just start going so fast, and they just it turns out not a lot of visual that you can see from the top of the fucking Airbus. Not a lot of.
I mean, if you don't set your altimeter to the altitude, or the current pressure.
Yeah, I can feel it out, man.
I don't know how any of them crash. I feel like mentally thinking about it, I'm like, it's so much space. Just don't hit another. It's like driving on a 20-lane highway, and there's
I feel like
one other
air-to-air
car.
collisions are extremely rare. Like,
well, yeah, but is that because the regulations are like so strict?
Yeah,
no,
I mean, the SOPs are super fucking good, is why.
Yeah. So
it's both.
I wouldn't crash.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's all
both. Like, there's a lot of space, and it's highly regulated around airport. I mean, but there's also like untowered airports that you have to, like, the pilots that are in the pattern build the pattern as they get there, and like you have to keep track of it, and no one's like in charge of it around the airport.
Yeah, but even then, like that, I mean, it's not that it's safer, but like because you're like one-on-one oftentimes, or like 1-on-5, like communicating with each person, like it becomes as simple as like, oh, it's my turn to land, cool, okay, I'm coming from this approach, awesome, and you just know like, okay, avoid that shit. But you'd be surprised how often like an accident or a fucking tragedy occurs because it's like, yeah, J23, and then like J22 is like, that's us. We're not gonna radio to confirm. We got passengers to move, and it's like, why? Like the SOPs that you fucking radio back, or it's like, I love when like I watch a lot of like air traffic controller videos where like the tower like yells at a pilot, and they're like, you fucking retard, and everyone's like, I can't believe the tower was so sassy in this video. I'm like, no, it's his job. His job is to quickly and effectively get information, and if you're like not following the SOP, like you're a dickhead.
Yeah, it's like you figure it out then, and like and then like sort it out later. Yes. But like, because like people die if you don't do things correctly and quickly.
Yeah. You're gonna fucking wipe the raid, man. We have to fucking we have to run
permanent
back
on the hardcore server.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know. There's something about like human emotion fascinating. Like the concept of arrogance, like at certain level. Like I understand the arrogance of like an ego peak in a game. I play a lot of legit. I understand. Like I don't approve of it, but I understand when he does retarded shit. But there are no stakes. The stake is that we lose a game. When the stakes get raised to like we fucking explode in real life and die, my arrogance goes away real quick, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, no, for sure, we'll double check. No reason not to.
Yeah.
What we'd do together, in the middle of a war zone. Yeah. If you catch me ego peeking.
Oh, I swear to God, shit. When World War III happens and like the Canada has been destroyed and you had to like fall back and we're fighting on the fronts of Minnesota, and I'm like, hey man, stay down. They don't see us yet, and you're like, bro, I think I can hit this shot, dude. No, seriously, man, check this shit out. And you stand up and you whiff your fucking one tap, and we just get lit up by fucking RPKs. I'm gonna be bleeding out next to you like. I'm like bleeding. You're bleeding against me. I'm bleeding out. I'm like reaching into my pocket, pulling out my fucking sidearm. I'm fucking finishing you off. Yeah, that's how the war goes.
Yeah, but the clip would be really cool.
Dude, there's no way that I don't Twitch stream the Resistance. All right, I don't give a shit if it gives away my position. As soon as combat starts and they know our position, I'm clicking go live and I'm pushing, bro. 2 on me, I'm knocked. Yeah, imagine like I get hit with like shrapnel, my leg is ripped off, I'm bleeding out, and all you hear is me on the comms. I'm like, shit, I'm knocked. Like,
safe.
2 on me, 2 on me, 2 on me. I'm safe. I'm safe. Just push. He's fucking one tap. He's one tap. Just yeah. I would be the worst person to be in war with because I would probably still be as unserious as I normally am, and like, because in my head it's like if you're getting like shelled by artillery fire, like. There's nothing that you can do other than be like, it's a good thing these bugs can't aim. And it just immediately fucking shell destroys you.
I don't know, I feel like the adrenaline, like the absolute amount of adrenaline that would be going through you, like at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like the first encounter, like that would be so hard to not be like just fucking freaked out.
Oh,
There's
no,
like
for
any
sure,
second
yeah.
I can just be like
Yeah.
fucking blown.
Oh god, I fucking hope, yeah. Oh god,
Any minute.
Aethil gonna suck me off. It's the only way. I don't want to die without coming, man. But no, yeah, obviously the first time you'd be scared, but like by the 7th bombing, like it's just like, hey, shit.
It becomes like gallows humor. Like
Yeah.
it's the only way you can cope.
Yeah. It's like, shit, you stand over here, I'll stand over here,
Yeah.
and whoever gets bombed first loses.
I mean, I'm sure that probably fucking happens and is
Listen.
happening right now in Ukraine.
Nobody dies in the red zone.
Yeah, nobody's ever died in the red zone, man. We're pushing. Yeah, Jit's knocked. He's one tap.
You checking this house for supplies?
Just feeding. I'm just imagining, like, we're like pushing out of the trenches, and you're just cut down with machine gun, dead immediately. And I just like look over at Aethil as we're running, and I'm like, he's feeding.
Oh god.
Doesn't have a positive KD.
Yeah.
Useless.
Oh my god, could you imagine, dude? You fucking die before you get a kill. I'm just like, his KD was negative, bro. It's dog shit, bro. Oh man. I'd be the worst person to be in the military with.
I can't wait for World War III.
I don't want to fucking have to dig the ammo crate like it's squad, man. Fucking.
I'll do supply runs any day.
Just you're there with your squad, you, Jit, Spiv, Renobe.
Well, don't
I love Spiv, right?
terminate us. From
But
the
unfortunately, in the war, you don't get to choose your squads. There's a chance you end up in a squad with 8 Spivs, and you're just gonna get wiped. You're gonna get farmed, bro. There's just no hope. Like, everyone in your group is just like looking at the flowers, like loo, and then like some dude throws a grenade, and like all your Spiv friends look down, look up at each other, look down again, look, boom, they're fucking gone. No one reacted. They just sort of were there.
I think that would be your May group.
Huh?
I think that would be your May group.
Yeah, May, my wife, my hippopotamus wife. And then she hits you in the head really hard.
No, she's raiding right now.
And you die.
Some butterfly thing.
Some butterfly. Well, that's, yeah, a little Mariposa. You
Yeah,
should turn her computer off mid-raid and then record it and put it on YouTube. I bet you could farm like a pretty, like, you would destroy your marriage. Like, he never comes back from there. But
yeah,
you get like
really
probably like 1,000 views.
I could send it to Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. America's Funniest Home Videos is a fucking insane concept. There were
like it started normal, like just dumb things that got filmed, and then it like turned into like
torturing children for content.
Yeah.
Which is great if I'm not the child, but
at the end of the day, it's still content.
Yeah, dude, I saw a fucking this guy is like doing jumps in like they have their own like little like dirt bike arena they've made like somewhere in the woods. And he like hits a jump, and he fucking like his friend is like working the skid steer, and I guess he didn't see him when he lands this jump, and he like the front tire hits the skid steer, and he like flies off and like smacks into the thing. I guess the skid steer guy wasn't supposed to be there. He starts apologizing. Fuck, man, like I didn't know you guys were like riding out here. He's like, no, it's good, man. That was great content. It was great content. It was great content. It looked cool as fuck. And then the first comment's like, society's really gone down the drain when after an accident somebody says, don't worry, it's good content. And I'm like, no, that's the best reaction you can have. Like, like replace that's good content with, no, man, dude, listen, man, shit happens. Like everyone's safe. Yeah. We're having a good time. Like, yeah, I fucking hate old people, man. One day I'll be old, and I hope that I'm not fucking cringe, man. I hope that I'm hip and playing Fortnite still.
I can't wait to spend all my time when I'm old picking flowers in WoW. Classic plus.
Dude, I remember like thinking, man, I'm 25 now, I'm washed up. I'm just not the gamer that I used to be. Right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, shut up, bitch. You suck. And then I forgot that like most games nowadays are designed around the concept of like lowering the skill gap, and like a lot of effort is put into like hidden MMR and shit like that to like keep things fair. So I've always just thought that I've just been playing like shit and getting worse and worse. And then I play BattleBid, a game with 0 skill ceiling. It's like, I have the most kills on the server 9 out of 10 games. I am the top of the scoreboard every time because you cannot balance things when there's 127 players in each team. I will just run around and farm everybody. This is the fucking best.
And then you get back to, how much bad are you causing in the world?
Yeah, exactly. Dude, the suffering that I inflict on people. The amount of what's great too is BattleBit has the automatic like light up of mics, right? So I can in real time hear the friend groups I'm destroying. Bro, how are you not watching? As I fucking run in and hose down their whole team, and I'm like fucking doing a little like block Fortnite dance on them. Fucking sick, man.
All right, I've got to go and eat dinner.
That's good. It's been about 3 hours, so this is like twice as long as it should be. But yeah, this was a great podcast. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye.
You can pop in halfway through.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I had to mow the lawn, so.
Is there anything you want to say to May before the podcast ends?
I hope you clear your raid.
May I hope that you clear the divider, the center divider of the road as you fucking drive into oncoming traffic and are T-boned, is what I hope. Do you have anything to say to... Oh, before you go, Aethil, Jen has a question for you.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the question is.
May or Haley?
Oh, no, that's specifically for May.
I see.
This is not for Aethil.
Okay, you don't want him to sort of send the message to May? We just have to keep waiting?
She'll receive it when she watches.
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have fun eating dinner with your dumb wife. Yeah. The end.
Okay, well, she already ate, so.